Hello and welcome to the United Stand. We're live and we're in a new set, courtesy of the genius that is Draughty Devil. So do drop a like on the video. It opens up a few things. We've still got the live comments. We've got the score over there. We can do little things about how goals were scored. Don't know what that is. It looks like a little bit of a plane. Ruined it. Anyway, drop a like on the video. We're live. Team news is about to come in any second. And talk of no Lingard, no Young and no Bailly, which is interesting. Are we going to show Arsenal too much respect? Don't know whether I agree with that. But certainly the game will be coming up. Well, the team news will be coming up very, very shortly. And we will have that instant reaction as per usual on the United Stand. So, yes, don't know what the thinkings with Jose Mourinho may well be about that. But we'll certainly find out in due course with regards to the team news. So get involved and give us your thoughts on that. Drop a like on the video. We'll go for 1,000 likes before kickoff. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. The United Stand, fantastic community. As you can see with the live comments, so get involved and subscribe if you are new. Yellow pen will be out, Sandy, you are right. So we are 2 minutes away from kickoff. I just want to draw your attention to... oh no, it's fine, it's working. I don't need to draw your attention to anything, it's working absolutely fine. Link in the video description for stats24.com. It's available on Android and app. We'll be having a look at that in a couple of minutes' time. But basically, if you are somebody who fancies a bet, you're over 18, do gamble responsibly. It's not actually signing up to have a bet, it's a website you can use that will effectively show you the probability of bets and how they will work. So I can just show you very, very, very quickly. When I go to this page here, this is the Stats24 website, and as you can see, Manchester United versus Arsenal, there's a 73% chance that there's going to be over 2.5 goals in this game, so 3 goals or more, and they will give you the odds, and bet it wherever you want, but they'll give you a little bit of a betting company where you can go through with that. So Manchester United versus Arsenal, over 2.5 goals, there is a 73% chance of that happening. You can download that app on Android and on Apple, and you can use the website. And if you are somebody who has a bet, really useful website because it bases their predictions all on probability, previous results, etc, etc. And as I've said many a time, I believe that we must be looking at least a 3-0 win today, at least. But we're about to find out the team news. It's going to come in very, very soon. And Sanchez to score, says Cato Ellis. It's just very, very interesting, isn't it? That we may well give them a little bit of leeway. Do we want to give them a bit of leeway? I think I was actually talking earlier about, yeah, I might not necessarily agree with Mourinho's selections, but I would like to see the same 11 picked again this week as he has done for the last few weeks, because I want to see that consistency. We haven't played all week, so why not pick our strong team again? We haven't got another game till Friday, so why not pick our strong team again? I don't understand why we have to keep changing it, and I certainly don't want to see any favours or anything like that from Manchester United in relation to Arsenal. So it is an interesting one. Apparently there's only been one change from Manchester United. There has, and it's Lingard does start, so, and Ashley Young starts as well. So they've got all that wrong. De Gea, Valencia, Lindelof, Smalling, Young, Herrera, Matic, Pogba, Lingard, Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. So it is the team as we predicted it would be. And the bench consists of Pereira, Rojo, Fellaini, Mata, McTominay, Martial and Rashford. I'm trying to think if anybody's missed out there. No Bailly, no Phil Jones. Is Phil Jones injured again? So they were right about Bailly, but they were wrong about everybody else, which is rather interesting. Sanchez to score, 3-1. Lovely studio. Draughty Devil, says Connor the Red. Yes, and I think Draughty's with us as well. It's the girlfriend's birthday today, so he's just here to say United to win 2-0. Thanks, Draughty. I think we need to be more than 2-0. I personally think we should be absolutely battering them. But I can give you the team news there, which would be... Let me just make sure that's right. I think I just need to change one of the subs. But Manchester United team news going along the bottom there. Of course, it's not right because Phil Jones is not playing and Lindelof is. So let me change that. Phil Jones plays instead of Lindelof. And Darmian's not on the bench either, is he? It's Rojo. So I've got the bench right now. And let me just change the centre back. So Lindelof playing is a positive. I think he needs to play in these sort of games, and we need to see him in these sort of games. Of course we do. So team news going on the bottom there. De Gea in goal, Valencia, Smalling, Lindelof, Ashley Young, Matic, Herrera, Pogba. Good to see that midfield three. Sanchez, Lingard, Lukaku. I think we are starting to see Jose Mourinho's starting 11 now. And again, you may not necessarily agree with that starting 11, but at least he is showing that consistency of selection, which many of us have craved. So I don't have a massive problem with it. Martial and Rashford on the bench, of course. No place for Luke Shaw. Wouldn't have expected that in a million years anyway. Interestingly, here's the Arsenal lineup now. This may be Ospina, Bellerin, Chambers, Mafropanos, Kolasinac, Xhaka, Maitland-Niles, Iwobi, Nelson, Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang. Holding on the bench, Monreal on the bench, Esu Tutu, Willock, Welbeck and Nketiah. They've gone very reserve-like, Arsenal, which is exactly what I expected them to do. They're not taking it that seriously, but I think that we should absolutely go out there and batter them. If they want to come to Old Trafford and pick their reserves, then we should batter them. That's what I feel. I don't know what you think in the live comments. Total reserves from Arsenal. Reserves from Arsenal. If Arsenal want to come here and do that, then let's batter them. That, you know, they deserve to get battered. No mercy. It's their funeral, isn't it? No mercy. Mercy is for the weak. And we should do that. I agree. We should do that. A lot of people saying that in the live comments. It's yeah, Arsenal have got a big game in the week, and of course they have, but that's not my problem. It's not our problem. This should be a beating, nothing less, says Daniel Shireen. Exactly. I think we've got to be looking at at least 3-0. At least 3-0. Good job, Drawty, says Adam. Martial should have started to Svasian. No, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think at the end of the day, it's not our problem that they're playing in that sort of situation, so we should have a go at them. Hello, Ross, can you hear me?
How you doing, Mark? You alright?
Ross, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right.
Yes, hello, mate.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, mate.
Sorry, I had my audio down. How you doing?
Okay. Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, good. Just a bit of interaction there as usual. Some people saying Martial should have started. I personally like the consistency. I don't necessarily agree with his 11, but at least he is picking that consistent 11 now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much predicted that exact team. And like you just said, that's the team I want to see, to be honest, because it's going to be the team, apart from the defenders, obviously, that's going to start the cup final. So I think now every game is a dry run of that cup final, and I want to pick up some momentum and some rhythm, which we seem to be picking up slowly. So hopefully we can continue that, because like you said, I think in a tweet, I think today is a relatively easy win, to be honest. It's the performance that I want to see rather than just a win.
Arsenal turned up with the reserves as expected. 3 or 4 players I've never even heard of. I suppose it's sort of expected. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a bit long in the tooth, and I do remember United winning a treble in '99, and I don't buy into this, oh, it's harder now than it was then. And United pretty much were playing every 3 days in big tournaments and won all 3. Arsenal, they're not playing till Thursday. They still come to, they were terrible. They really let themselves down in that last sort of half an hour there. I personally would have thought play some of those players because, he's only not playing them to keep them fresh. But I don't know. I don't know whether I agree with that. But he's definitely gone with that reserve approach that many people thought he would.
Yeah, I just think it's a win-win when you play your reserves, really. Because if you do eke out a result, you get a little bit of positivity out of it. But saying that, I think even with their first, their starting 11 would have still been wiping them aside quite easily, to be honest. So it doesn't make a difference to me. And if anything, it's probably harder now because you've got a team of players that may actually turn up, because I know the others wouldn't.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the Arsenal, I suppose if they put their first team out and they get battered, it's not a great confidence booster for them. But I probably would have preferred to play against Mustafi and Koscielny rather than whoever it is that they've got playing centre back today. Anyway, they were. I I think that, I mean, score predictions wise, I can't see anything. I think we've got to. I think from a United point of view, it's a bit of a. There is a challenge there because I think we've got to beat them at least by 3-0. I think more maybe.
Yeah, it's a shame really with this United team because I'm going to predict 3-0 as well, but it will be a hard 3-0 because the problem this United team has is every time we go sort of 1-2 goals up, they seem to just sort of take the accelerator off a bit. But I'd like to see us just carry on today. But yeah, I'd say 3-0.
So just to highlight what we're going to do today, we've got this we've got the board here. So United are going to be playing that 4-3-3 position there. So let me just cross Matic there and Herrera. I mean, Sanchez playing today, Mkhitaryan back today. I did say at lunchtime that I expect Manchester United will applaud him. Apparently they already have. Sanchez, when he goes back to the Emirates, will obviously be booed. I suppose that just shows the measure of our fans, doesn't it, really? A club with class against a club that is just very deluded and has massive sort of delusions of grandeur. But Mkhitaryan coming back. Obviously we did a video at the weekend with DT and Flex was saying, so far Sanchez obviously is a better player, but Mkhitaryan's been a better signing. He's got a lot of goals and assists for us. Mkhitaryan, I can't remember what your thoughts were on him going anyway. Back at Old Trafford, do you expect him to do much? Does it leave you with any regret, or are you just happy that he's back and doing well?
No, I haven't. I was delighted when he left, to be honest. Nothing against the guy, but just the player horrified me. And I've seen the same at Arsenal. I haven't seen any different. I've watched him a lot at Arsenal. Yeah, it gets goals and assists in all the games that he shouldn't be doing. And as soon as the big games turn up, he goes missing. So I don't miss him whatsoever. And Sanchez has proved to me at United that he's showing up in the big games, so a lot better signing than what Mkhitaryan's been.
Definitely. Moses says the funny thing is that Mertesacker is quicker than Arsenal's 3 midfielders. And Mickey will bottle it today, says Shah Hassan. I mean, I suppose from a United point of view, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head there, Ross, a bit as well, because Arsenal have always got this we're playing our reserves sort of thing. So unless they get absolutely annihilated, it's very similar to when we went there last year amongst the Europa League, and I think we lost 2-0 with Twansibi playing well against Sanchez, but it was right in between the Europa League for us as well, and we put out a weakened side a little bit as well. So from an Arsenal point of view, I suppose from a United point of view, things could go wrong. I mean, if we draw or we, God forbid, lose, then that would be utterly embarrassing. So They've got to have their game heads on, and we haven't played for a week. I mean, sod everybody else. We haven't played for a week. We need to be on our game. I know, we're going to finish second, aren't we? Liverpool dropping points yesterday. They've got bigger fish to fry like Arsenal, but all we can do is pick up the points and then focus on that FA Cup, like you said.
Yeah, the good thing about Liverpool drawing is they mathematically can finish out the top 4, which delights me, to be honest. But yeah, second's ours. It's absolutely nailed on ours. But look, apart from Lindelof, this is our absolute full strength team, so yeah, we should be battering them. But I know you say about United's rest, but I can't remember us coming back and playing well after Mourinho giving them all a break. So they need to show up today.
Do you? I mean, in relation to that 11, there's a few people there, saying about different players. You said it's United's strongest 11. I would agree with that. Is it the 11 that you're happy with, or do you still think that there are players that should be part of it that aren't?
No, I'm happy with it. I'm absolutely happy with it. I think having an out-and-out winger on the right wing, it does disrupt our balance, and it works really well with Sanchez and Lingard that have been able to interchange. So I quite like the front 3 that we play. I really like the midfield 3. I think the issue with our sort of team and squad is we've got no one in the midfield 3 to come in if bar a bad performance or an injury. But look, Martial will have his time. And do you know what? I'd rather see him played as a slightly number 2 to Lukaku now, to be honest, because we've got an abundance of wingers. We have no strikers, and I think Martial is a very good alternative to have for a striker.
Do you think Martial's going to stay? There was a little bit yesterday, somebody saying he's going to stay, some people saying he's going to go. I must be honest, I know we had this chat about De Gea before and you were right, so hopefully you're going to say he's staying, but I do feel he will go. I think the complication with Martial is that he's got a year left on his contract, and if he doesn't sign it, they'll sell him, and I don't think he'll sign it for the simple reason, I think that he has been treated badly, and that's not a criticism of Mourinho. He has been treated badly. He was playing really well. Sanchez has been signed. He's seen his game time limited, and I think Martial will just think, you know what, I don't want to play for this manager anymore. I'm going to go somewhere else. That's why I think he's going to go. I don't think I think Mourinho would be happy to keep him as a bench player, but I think Martial will have a bigger expectation than that. So I think he will go. What are your thoughts?
I've got a bit of a different opinion, to be honest. I think he's going to stay. I think that we're bound to be linked away from us, especially when he's in his last years of contract. And I also think he's after a new contract, and after obviously quite a significant pay rise. So I just think it's all agent talk, to be honest. And I think he'll stay. And he doesn't look. Martial's got a stone face anyway. Doesn't look unhappy at Manchester United. Maybe a bit unhappy about lack of game time, but wouldn't every player?
A little bit of talk about Mata because it's his weekend. Gary Welsh just said all of a sudden Mata's become the bad guy, and I find it very strange. I think Mata's always been consistent for me, Ross. 8 out of 10 player, but he seems to have been the fall guy for that West Brom because he was the only player. I remember straight after the day after, Mourinho said that there were players from that game who played so badly they can forget playing in the FA Cup semi-final. Actually, the only one who can forget it was Mata, which I think is a bit harsh. I think Mata is. I don't think Mourinho's ever going to get that sort of agenda cultivating amongst Manchester United fans. Mata may not be a starter for many Manchester United players, but many Manchester United fans, but he's certainly, he's consistent and people like him. But he has been frozen out since that West Brom game, and I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch.
No, and he's 30 years old now, which is shocking, really. He looks a lot younger than that, but he's been really consistent for us, like you say. I'd probably go with 7 out of 10, but I love Juan Mata. And I want to see him around for many years, actually, in the role that he's doing now. And Mata's got a bit of a decision to make, really, as whether he wants to try and push on late on his career at a lesser team or stay at United and be a bit part player. But that's all he's going to be for me. He'd be great against your Stokes, but in the huge games like this, I think he's just a little bit too slow, a little bit too small, and even a little bit too old now.
Yeah, a lot of love coming in from Mata, actually, in fairness, in the live comments. And a lot of love for the new setup we've got for the watch-along. Make sure you do drop a like on it. Really, really great graphical work by Draughty Devil, as ever. Where the F is Bay, says Jerome Ronaldo, actually. It was going to be the next point, actually, Jerome. No Bay again. I think he was ill for the semi-final. A week later... not involved again. Have you got any concerns around Eric Bailly? I sort of said last week, he doesn't seem to play a lot, even when we thought he was fit. And I mean, is he injury prone? Is he ill? Is that something we need to be concerned about going into the summer transfer window? I mean, everyone always says Eric Bailly, you do a combined 11, he's always in there, but actually he's not actually played that much this season.
No, he's a massive concern to me, actually. He reminds me of the different players, but young Phil Jones, where Phil Jones was always nailed on at United but not fit. And players need to get past that, in all honesty, because you look in the transfer market. Look, Bailly may be our most talented defender, but he's not United's #1 defender at the minute. I saw someone on Twitter getting hammered for saying Chris Smalling's our #1 centre-back, and he absolutely is. And that's not based on talent, it's based on fitness levels, being able to play, and Smalling turns up in the big games as well. So Bailly is a concern for me. And I think when we're signing a centre-back to play with in the summer, if we're signing one, it's a centre-back to play with Chris Smalling. Bailly's got to fight for fitness. So I probably wouldn't... I'd play him as a bit part until the end of the season and just protect him for a little bit, give him the summer, and he's had a good 8 months then without being injured, which may benefit him because he is struggling.
I don't know whether the Ivory Coast are in the World Cup, but I presume if they are, he's in it. I haven't really paid any attention to the World Cup, really, to be honest with you, yet. But I presume they are, which means he won't be having a total rest. But yeah, maybe Mourinho's giving him the rest now to go into the World Cup. It's certainly a good theory. If Arsenal win, we're in trouble, says King K. Yeah, I think if Arsenal were to win today, it would be a problem for us. But just picking up on that, I've said about Smalling, I'm a big fan of Smalling. If I had a choice between Jones and Smalling leaving, I'd get rid of Jones simply because of his injury record. But what I would say about Smalling as well is that you're not going to win a title with him as a centre-back. I'd stand by that, and I do like him. But actually, without Smalling this season, where would we be? I remember playing Arsenal in November, Where was Jones and Rojo? I think Rojo played, but Jones and Bailly were injured. Back again in April, we're playing Arsenal. Where are they? So Smalling's consistency, whether you like him or not, he's helped us out a lot this season. And I don't think he is one of the best centre backs in the world, but he's certainly somebody that has been really, really important for us. The dynamic of that midfield three, though, Ross, Herrera, Matic, and Pogba playing together more and more regularly. To me, that's I don't understand why it's taken so long, but it's definitely something that's really helped us out.
Yeah, massively. Herrera was my man of the match last week. I thought he was phenomenal. But for me, the simple reason is why wasn't this played earlier in the season? It's because it was, and it failed miserably. And Herrera was horrific. He was absolutely horrific. His performance was rubbish all the way up to Christmas. And he's tried other players in that position, because at the start of the season, it honestly looked like Herrera couldn't play with Pogba and Matic. But look, he's come back, he's worked hard, and recently he's been phenomenal. And he's a massive key part in our midfield, and should have always been. It's just a shame that he had that drop off in form.
Yeah, just picking up on that, it's something I've sort of said over the last few weeks as well. I don't actually understand why it's taken this long. And I even heard Flex talking about it the other day, I think on the Arsenal fan TV. He was saying, he's been injured. Well, he hasn't. I've heard people say that he started the season, but he started the season badly. He didn't. He played in the Super Cup against Real Madrid, which was basically a glorified friendly. When the season actually started, Herrera didn't start a game until Stoke, which I think was the middle of September. We started the season with a midfield three of Fellaini, Matic and Pogba. It's April till Mourinho's decided to do it. I mean, I applaud him for doing that rather than never doing it. But it is an odd one when he was our player of the year last year. When we signed Matic, everyone was like, you know what, Matic, Herrera and Pogba, what a good midfield that is. It's so balanced. But it's taken us till now to do it. But now when we have done it, we've produced our best football.
Yeah, we have. I thought I saw lots of Herrera at the start of this season. I thought he was poor, but he's not a poor player at all. And you're right, he was our player of the season last season, outfield. So that hopefully that's the formation that we need to play now. Whether it is Herrera or whether it is a dynamic summer signing, which is probably what we would all prefer, it's the position, the formation we've got to play. To be honest, but. Do you know what? It did wind me up, and I've always backed and defended Fellaini, to be honest, because I thought he was useful to our team. But
someone's got it.
Why we're still giving up positions on our bench for a player he's gone. He's absolutely gone. So there's no point in playing him. You may as well just drop him, because I feel really sorry for players that are working really hard in our youth setup that can't get into even the subs bench because a player that's outright said that he wants to leave is getting in there. That really does sort of wind me up.
I'm not. To be honest, there's nothing more I'd like to see than Fellaini leaving Manchester United. But I actually don't think he's going. I think Mourinho is still hopeful that he will stay, and I think that's why we do see him on the bench. And I mean, let's not forget, I've had people on the live comments saying, "Oh, he's definitely gone." Even United are not going to give him what he wants, but Mourinho was begging him to stay publicly in press conferences, even when he was injured. I mean, we shouldn't ignore the fact that Mourinho is desperate for Fellaini to stay. And at the moment, we're in the hands of whether Fellaini decides to go. Not, Mourinho would have him staying for another 3 years, even though he's crap and 31 in December. So, I do agree with that point, but I'm certainly not comfortable that he's going to go. De Gea's going to stay, though, if Mourinho's to be believed. He said it in the press conference on Friday that no chance he's going to go. So we don't need to cover what we did a year ago when you said he was going to stay anyway. I mean, that's great news going into the transfer window, that we know that the best goalkeeper in the world will be here next season. And, maybe there was a reason for him to go. De Gea's been very loyal, but knowing he's staying is fantastic news.
It's literally the best news. It's the best summer signing United could ever have hoped for, to be honest, because if De Gea went, we'd never be able to replace him. And that would have a knock-on effect, actually, because we've been very fortunate to have the same goalkeeper for a number of years now, and each centre-back can come in and or out, and they've got that stability behind them. Christ knows what Jones and Smalling would have been like next season with a new keeper. So I think it's the best news for our club, to be honest.
Yeah, it is as well, and I think that's something we did. I'll get your opinion on this as well. We did a combined 11 with Arsenal and United. It was Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV and Flex did it, and there was a bit of moaning because the centre backs and the goalkeeper's always going to be United. I think the centre backs were United. I think it was Smalling and Bailly. Again, Bailly getting in there despite never playing, but I think he is on paper the best centre-back between the two clubs. But the fullbacks were Bellerin and Monreal. That sort of picks up on your point there, is that, you know, everyone goes on about United having a great back four, but so much of it is about De Gea being in goal. I don't think anybody can argue that Smalling, Young, Valencia and Lindelof is a Premier League winning back four. It has its weaknesses, but when you've got De Gea there, it just makes a massive difference.
Yeah, for me, Bellerin all day long, but Monreal, I'd have said no. I think Valencia or Young have had better seasons. It's a tough one, isn't it? 'Cause if you go who's the better player, I'd probably say Monreal's he's a better, you know, wing back than the two, but I think they've just had better years. But you're right. This whole wingers.
To be honest, I'd play you at left back instead of Ashley Young. But, you know, so I would agree with Monreal. I think Ashley Young, as much as I like him, is probably the worst left back in the Premier League. Defensively, he's just not there. He's so bad, and it amazes me that Mourinho, who's such a good defensive tactician, sticks with him, because I think he's dreadful, and I think that's been proven time and time again. But so yeah, I would definitely go Monreal over Ashley Young, but, you know, I'd go anyone over Ashley Young as a left back. I think he's absolutely dreadful. But maybe the Valencia.
What about that defensive masterclass against Liverpool, though, mate? You can't forget that, 'cause he was fantastic.
Yeah, he lives off that, and obviously Salah could be the Ballon d'Or winner, but he did play well in that game. But he's so bad. I mean, I've seen so many players against him, and I'm not even talking good people. You know, Nathan Redmond. You know, they've absolutely. If anyone's watched Ashley Young every game this season, he is a defensive liability, and for me, that's one of the most important areas that we need to improve on next year. Not least because he must be about 32 or 33 now. So, and the same with Valencia. I mean, I think the Bellerin Valencia one is a you know, Valencia probably does deserve it over the season. Bellerin's been quite good the last few weeks, but I'd get Bellerin over Valencia, because Valencia just doesn't. I think the last few months he's been quite inconsistent, which was always his big thing. But I think that's just down to being overplayed and age. I think it's catching up with him a bit. So United fullbacks, I think, are an area that we need to look at.
Definitely, like literally the most important position. I'd like to know what everyone thinks. What's more important, a centre midfielder or a wing back? Because you could probably just about wing another season with the same wing backs, but we need a centre midfielder. But you'd like to think we'd get all three positions covered. But you know what Man United are like in the transfer window, so we'll only probably see one, if not two.
Moses, thanks for the contribution. He says 4-1 to United. 3 reasons. 1, Mkhitaryan. 2, half their team are reserves and not the good ones. 3, slow and weak midfield. Control the midfield, control the match. And I think that's a good point, because I think we do have. I mean, Matic isn't particularly quick, but Pogba's, you know, no slouch, and I think Herrera's tenacity will be really important in a game like this. And I think 3-0 at least is what we need to look at. The team news, just for people who've joined a little bit late for Arsenal: Ospina in goal, Bellerin, Chambers, Mavropanos, Kolasinac, Xhaka, Maitland-Niles, whoever he is, Iwobi, Nelson, Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang. It's not a very good Arsenal side, and it's there for Manchester United to go and absolutely, and have to, in my mind, go and put it on a show and beat them. Even if we beat them 4 or 5-0, it's a difficult game, Ross, isn't it, really? Because if United struggle to a 1 or 2-0, I mean, it's also almost a trap, I'm trying to say, because United haven't been known for going on the front foot, but we've got to go on the front foot. We've got to entertain. And even if we did beat them 5 or 6-0, people will say, well, it's only Arsenal reserves. So it's a bit of a difficult one for United, to be fair.
Yeah, but there'd be a certain centre forwarder on our team that'd be absolutely rubbing his hands together at seeing them 2 centre backs today. So we've got to get the ball into him quickly and run off him. And to your right, front foot, balls up to Lukaku. You know, this is quite a good technical Arsenal team, even with the new replacements, but we've just got brute force and power, and we should use it. And I really liked Mourinho's comments the other day saying about Pogba's performance, and that United really only ever play well when he does, which is an absolute true statement. So if Pogba plays as he should today, then everyone else around him will prosper.
George Kyle says that Maitland-Niles is actually really good from what he's seen. I'll take your word from it, mate. I've never watched him play. I've got no interest in Arsenal reserves, and You never know. To be honest, if I was an Arsenal fan, I would be like, our bigger game is on Thursday. Got some young players playing today. Let's see how they do. It's a bit like I said, it's a bit like what we did last year with Twansibi playing, and he did very, very well. So I hope that doesn't happen, obviously, because I don't want to see Arsenal youngsters coming and expressing themselves well here. But I do feel that there's a responsibility on United players, because if they do win, everyone will just say, well, you should win. But if they don't perform, then you're going to get the criticism of, Arsenal reserves turn up and we don't. And we are playing for that FA Cup final place, Ross, as well. I mean, nobody can afford to take their feet off the pedal, especially. I mean, we've not really spoken about Alexis Sanchez much. I mean, Mkhitaryan, he's not really an aggressive personality anyway. I would argue that Sanchez is very aggressive in the way he tries to chase the ball down against the team where there has been a few bad words said by players. It's a shame Aaron Ramsey's not playing. That could be an interesting dynamic as to whether Arsenal will dive into any tackles on him and could give it a nice little bit of bite, which I think this game does need.
Yes, well, I've got a theory as well, and my theory is, and it's only a theory, but I don't think Mkhitaryan was much loved at United by the players, because I saw a lot of frustration with some footballers when he went missing in games. And let's not forget all the comments when he went to Arsenal about how United played and the difference between managers. And so I don't think there's going to be a lot of love lost between United players and Mkhitaryan either, to be honest. I know the fans appreciate him. I've just, and I know Lukaku used to be furious at him half the time. So I'd like to see a few challenges going on him, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest about Mkhitaryan. I remember when he first signed him and he didn't really used to play him, and it used to really frustrate me. And I remember him coming on, I think, in a European fixture in his first few months, and nobody would pass him the ball. It was absolutely abundantly clear that nobody would pass him the ball, and I really liked Mkhitaryan then because I thought he was a good signing. But he wasted the opportunity, and when he actually did go, I think he deserved it. He deserved to go. I thought, especially around, I think, October time, we played him every week and he needed dropping. So I think he was never going to turn it round and he needed to go. Josh Bates says, I really wish he would play Shaw. I just don't see the point in playing young when we have a potential world-class talent not even making the bench. Luke Shaw, Ross, I'm pretty sure he's going.
Yeah, I'm absolutely clear with that as well, to be honest. I don't think any of us want to see him go. And you know what? If we did play against Shaw, the amount of love he'd get from United fans, because there's a little bit of the Bastian Schweinsteiger syndrome here, where Mourinho's out in him and the fans don't want it to happen. And I would like Jose to at some time listen and just go, actually, this player does have talent, he has potential, he works hard, why don't I give him a chance? Because that's what the fans want to see. But we know what we got. We got stubborn old Jose, and he is doing the business at the minute. So who am I to tell him what to do?
And I think there's something in that, because I do think that Ashley Young obviously plays too many games and he is old, and there is no point. Arsenal put their reserves out. We probably could have tweaked a couple of positions like we have with Lindelof. I think maybe another position could have been tweaked as well. And I don't think Ashley Young played particularly well in the semi-final as well. I think again in the first half he was a big weak area. But I think you sort of said it there, Ross. It's why would Mourinho play a player that he knows he wants to get rid of? It's too risky, because if he plays well, you're just going to get the fans going, why did we sell him? This is why we should pick him. I know people don't agree with it, but from Mourinho's point of view, he wants rid of this player. He's not going to give him the steam off his piss, is he? He's going to not play him because he doesn't want him to play well.
No, exactly. Again, the batting. Yeah, it's a Schweinsteiger treatment, and we were all really horrified at that because he was an absolute fan's favourite as well. Look, the only thing is with Young, we do cling on to the fact that this is maybe a big test for him, and next season we're going to see him. But I think that's just fiction getting away with us, really. We'll know what's going to happen, and we'll be recruiting for a left back in the summer.
Well, I mean, just thinking there very quickly in relation to Van Gaal signings, I think that is an issue with Martial as well. I think it's there's not a lot of love there from Mourinho because it's not his signing, and there's not. I mean, Rojo does jump to mind, but if you think about it, he's already got rid of Schweinsteiger and Schneiderlin. That's 2 of Van Gaal's signings. Shaw looks like he's going to go, so that's 3. Blind and Darmian, I'd say they're going to go. That's 5. Then Martial, let's see what happens with him. Rojo has obviously signed the new contract, so he's one who's going to stay. Herrera, yeah, probably will stay, but a lot of them have been got rid of.
Yeah, and some people argue that Herrera wasn't a Van Gaal signing, 'cause I think he was signed before Van Gaal even took over. So
I think Shaw was as well, to be fair, though. I think that was already agreed.
Yeah, but there may be something in that. You're right. I know that Jose was very critical of Van Gaal signings and said that he wouldn't have made them. So,
but he loves also Alex signings, doesn't he? Even he even likes Moyes signings because he loves Fellaini. But the Sir Alex Ferguson ones, he doesn't get rid of them either. It's the Van Gaal ones he really seems to go in on.
Yeah, but maybe there's something in that, because I can guarantee that all them Sir Alex Ferguson signings know what the taste of winning's like. And they've probably got a lot of passion. I mean, say what you want about Ashley Young, he's very passionate. I know that shouldn't get you in the team, but he is a part of that old era, and I do think it's nice to keep some of them in there. I just think he's got the balance a little bit wrong, to be honest. But it is nice to even have a Chris Smalling, a player that's actually won the league. He's done the business, because there's a lot of players in that team now that have never touched success.
I also think as well that there's a lot of those signings from Van Gaal that just weren't good enough. There were a lot of bad signings there, so I think he's probably right on that one as well. And just finally, Ross, the question that a lot of people are asking is, obviously City have won the Premier League, Liverpool are probably going to be in the Champions League final, and God forbid they could actually win it. United second in an FA Cup, is it acceptable, not good, or a good season? Or something else?
It's a very good season. Very good season. It's exactly what... if we'd have all had a conversation 2 years ago, what do you want to achieve? If you'd have said, Europa League, Champions League first season to get into the tournament, and second season, second, FA Cup as well along the way, a bit of get out the group stages in the Champions League. It would have all been acceptable. So it's next season's going to be the absolute big one, because from where we've been going, the slow success, I don't think anything but the Premier League's going to do for Jose next season. But I'm absolutely happy and delighted with the progress that we've made under Jose. I just think we say it every year, don't we, Mark? And you have massive summers on it, but it's the biggest transfer window for Manchester United that I can remember, because it's absolutely make or break. If you get it right, I think we're onto a serious winner. And if we get it wrong, you see the end of Jose, I think.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I do think it's Premier League or nothing for him next year. And I know he's trying not to say that, but I think the one thing I don't agree with Jose is, and I think, it's an acceptable season unless Liverpool win the Champions League, because I don't care whatever we do. If they win the Champions League, it makes it a nightmare season for me anyway. But the thing I won't listen to Jose is, and I hate the word, is transition. I don't like this, we're in transition, because if we're in transition, how did Leicester win the league in one season? How have Liverpool got to a Champions League final? I'd rather call it progress. I don't want to call it transition, because there's undeniable factual progress. 6th to 2nd, winning an FA Cup if we can do that. The Champions League was a bit of a letdown, obviously, but you've got to move on from that. But I don't agree with the transition argument, and I think that he almost gets that put into his mouth by the press. I don't think even Mourinho agrees with that. You can't be in transition for 2 years when we've spent what we've spent. There's definite progression there, and I don't associate transition with progression, really.
No, it's when he starts talking about that in press conferences, I expect him to start talking about progress and philosophies, because that's what Van Gaal did, and it just started to do your head in after a while. And sometimes I think managers do. They get told to say these things because it just comes out their mouth too often for me. I mean, Van Gaal, with his philosophy, drove me to tears towards the end.
Well, Ross, good to have you on, and please do come back on again. You're still on Twitter at Hazza90.
That's it, mate. Yeah, and good to be on, and we've had a good day so far with Hamilton's. Hopefully we can get the second part in as well.
Definitely. It was a cracking race, actually, wasn't it?
Really good,
Very interesting. For the second one in a row. So, if anyone likes Formula One, it was absolutely brilliant. Thanks for coming on, pal.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you can see in the bottom corner, we're on 217,467. So we could get to 218,000 to this evening. Please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and get involved with the United Stand community. As you can see, the live comments are always part of the show. We're live every single night at 8 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Well, pretty much every night, actually. We do Saturday as well. We've got fan cams today with Arsenal Fan TV. So I know confirmed we've got Robbie on, DT's going to be on. I think Claude, Ty, Troops as well with Flex. Sophie's at the ground with Flex. She's doing a fan cam. So make sure you subscribe and get your notifications on, because I think, you know, they might be more interesting than the game itself. But hopefully not. I think Sanchez adds a little bit of a bite to it. I think United need to turn up and just put on a good performance today. It's a good little test, I think, to just keep the momentum going. And as we know, last time we were at home, we played West Brom and we didn't turn up at all. So it's a mental test for these players today to go and turn up, and we need to do that. Let me just sort something out here, because I did miss a super chat. You can make a super chat option. It's the $sign at the bottom of the live comments. I know there's one from Duke and another one that I need to read out. So let me just click that. Score prediction for me, I'm going to go 4-0, because I think 3-0 as a minimum today is absolutely expected. You can't have a team of reserves like Arsenal come in than here and not do it. And Ulrich Dalland says, what's up with the pitch? So we're going to use the pitch for sort of stuff going on in the game, talking about the goals and how they were worked and things like that. So it's a bit of a tactics board. I'll show you that in a minute. Swap Neil Thite says, Mark, did you watch Jose's latest interview in the AN Training Complex? He gave a lot of clarity points on his approach to the title. I didn't, Swap Neil, so I'd love to know about that. Karan Banzai says, Mourinho's consistent with the lineup, good or bad? I think that's a good thing, Karan. I said it before, I think, you know, this is his team. There's one or two positions I don't agree with, but at least we know it's his team and he's playing it consistently. I think United need to build some consistency, and you only do that by playing the team regularly. I think the one problem is that we're not. One of the most important positions to build consistency is between your centre-back pairing, and that's the one area where we still don't have any consistency. Liam says Liverpool United Champions League, Man City Premier League, Chelsea FA Cup, and Europa League for Arsenal. That's all he says. Thanks for the contribution. And Josh Bates, I really wished we would play Shaw. I just don't see the point in playing Young when we have potential world-class talent, not even making the bench. And Duke Dolman says, Martial from 0 to 0 under Jose, lost his shirt, his place and his status. Why does Jose drive away top young talent? The short-term one. I don't think calling him the short-term one is necessarily a negative thing. It's there in black and white, and I don't, you know, as a fan, I'm Mourinho in, I'm a fan of Mourinho, but I wouldn't argue with people saying that he is a short-term one. He is short-term. That's why he's only ever been anywhere 3 years. He is the short-term one. I've got no issue with that at all. Ulrich Dalland, yeah, we've done that. And okay, so Ulrich, especially for you, if we get a miracle goal where Ashley Young runs down the ring, crosses it in, and Lukaku scores, that's what we can use it for. We can also say Pogba's heat maps here, Sanchez heat maps here. It's working really well. So it's a more of a tactics board to sort of show things. You know, it's a new screen. Drop a like on it. I think it will work really well once the game gets going. And as for the live chat, we wanted to keep it part of the show, but actually there's been a change with YouTube now that whenever anybody's watching a video, if you're watching it live, you've got your own live chat thing there anyway. And even when you watch it on a playback, it shows you the live chat. So the live chat hasn't become redundant because we still want it to be part of the United Stand, but there is a change in YouTube that keeps it there anyway. So it's created as a little bit of space that we can use, and we intend to use it. But we've got a bigger one as well, bigger pitch as well, which we can use as well. So let's have a look at what people are saying in the live comments. Why is there no excitement though? I'm not feeling it, to be honest, says Darani. Yeah, I suppose so. I suppose, you know, there's no excitement because we're going to finish second in the league. Arsenal have played their reserves. We're sort of winding down towards an FA Cup. But Ross is right, and I said it on the show last night. I think the transfer element of this window of the next few weeks is really important. In fact, we're starting our Transfer Daily show from 7 AM tomorrow. We do it every transfer window. When it's open, there's a morning show that goes up on the United Stand at 7 o'clock. So it's starting tomorrow. So we're going to give this sort of season a kick up the backside, really, at the backside end of it, because it is a massive season, for massive transfer window for Manchester United. And I think that's where we need to focus on. Obviously, the FA Cup. Second place in the league is good, but it's almost, there's a retainer on that as to how good it is. I mean, if Liverpool win the Champions League, I will never mention second place as being successful because it will just die on its arse. George Kyle. I'm just reading your message there. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let me come back in here. Forza Roma, says Masood. Well, we'd all like Roma to win. I don't want Bale at United, Butch, but I did hear somebody say the other day that maybe a loan deal for Bale would be quite good. I mean, it takes the risk element out of injuries because he's a good player, but I wouldn't pay him any money to come here. I'd pay his wages on a loan deal. I haven't been excited watching United lately since Jose's been here, says Andrew Ellis. And I hope we respect Arsenal, but not too much, says Phil F. I don't want to Why? Why respect them? It's their, it's their fault they're in a situation where they need to rest their own players because the squad's not big enough. I don't think we need to respect Arsenal at all. Let's go out and absolutely batter them. Batter them. Anyway, we're 18 minutes away from kickoff, which is good. In fact, actually, if anybody's having a bet on this game, I have gone for over 2.5 goals, which is I think, a very, very good idea to do it. Link in the video description. We've got stats24.com. If you are somebody who likes to have a bet on the football, remember you've got to be over 18 and do gamble responsibly. But this is a cracking little website and app that you can use. It's not about signing up and having a bet with them. It's just a really good app if you do have a bet, because what they do is on Stats24, obviously there's a bit of a hint in the website name and the app, they provide you with stats in relation to in relation to certain games, and they will throw forward bets based on probability. So if you see here over 2.5 games, over 2.5 goals in the Manchester United versus Arsenal game, 73% chance of that happening. So they're saying that there's a 73% chance that there will be more than 3 goals in this game, and you can get your bet odds next to that, and they will give you their where you can get the best odds for it. But it's a cracking little website if you are somebody who has a little bet on the football, because if you're unsure how to build your accumulator or something like that, or you just fancy putting a bet on, they cover absolutely everything as well. Absolutely everything. There's so many games that they cover, and they will throw forward those percentages for you as well. So even here, look, you've got a Finland game that's ongoing in play at the moment. There's a 99% chance that there's going to be under 2.5 goals in that game, and they're saying 1.57 with 40 minutes to go, and it's 1-0 in that. So you can build your little bets up on your accumulators quite easily, and it is all based on probability, right the way down to here where you might fancy something a little bit more out there. 65% Palmas versus Europa in Group 5 of the Spanish League, under 2.5 goals, and it's 0-0 there. You can get that at 1.50. So if you are somebody who fancies a bet, building your accumulators, Stats24 is a really good website and app. The link is in the video description, where you can get some ideas and probabilities, etc, etc. So do give it a look. I have gone with over 2.5 goals in the game. I'm thinking 3 or 4-0 at least for United tonight. I think we've got to do that. We've got to do that. There's no excuses. It's a poor Arsenal team. It's at Old Trafford. They played on Thursday. We played a week ago. We should go at them from 100 miles an hour and absolutely get all over them like a fat kid on cake. It really should be that straightforward, and I've been saying it for days because it should be. There's no excuses with it at all. And thinking back to what the Europa League was like, I've been very consistent about this, that the Europa League is very much a case of you play Thursday night, you're playing again on Sunday. It's 2.5 days rest max, and it's a killer. It is a killer. It was a killer for us last season. We had to give up on the Premier League. It's a killer for Arsenal this season. So, you can sort of understand what they've done. Please do drop a like on the video. We're trying to get 1,000 likes before kickoff. And do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. Let's see if we can get up to 218,000 subscribers today. And, yeah, get involved. Share the video as well. Share the video. Sanchez to score, 2 goals. Lukaku to score, Rashford to score, says Peter Affleck. And let us know where you're watching from in the live comments. Let us know in the live comments where you are watching from today. And we'll be interested to know what time it is and where you're watching from, because we're nosy with things like that. Jose is just talking at the moment. A lot of this is going to be about Wenger, and I must just say that in relation to Arsene Wenger, what I want to say is this, look, it is the end of an era that he is leaving. This will be his last game against Manchester United. It is the end of an era for him. But also, I just want to say, as somebody who's watched the Premier League from inception to now, there is no doubt in my mind that Manchester United and Arsenal have made the Premier League what it is. They've made it the best league in the world, the biggest brand in the world, and they did it without oil money. That was the best rivalry. That was the best period of the Premier League. If you missed it, it's a bit like talking back about great sporting rivalries. Ali and Fraser and things like that, Senna and Prost, all that. Arsenal, Manchester United in the late 90s, early noughties was just an absolute pleasure to witness, and that was Arsenal and Manchester United, and Wenger had a big part of that, like Sir Alex Ferguson had a big part of that. So it is sad that it's the end of the era from like that point of view, but to be honest with you, Arsenal have been a spent force for 10 years, and maybe he should have gone a bit sooner. Blend is in Albania, Kevin is in Kenya, JJ is in Chile. We've got Eski, Pogba, Jamaica, Trudy. Kevin's in Kenya, Chicago, Valhalla, Tipperary Island, the British Virgin Islands for Ziad, Barcelona, Blackpool, Prison, Norway, Congo. I'm not saying Blackpool and Norway are like prison. Chile again, Uganda, and it's 6:30. Kansas City, says Tommy Herald. Namibia, Stretford End, says Abitur. I very much doubt you're in the Stretford End because the internet connection is atrocious. I very much doubt you'd have good enough internet. You can barely send a text, let alone watch a stream. And New Jersey for Andre. So yes, we're getting very, very close to kickoff. Very close to kickoff. We're about 12 minutes away. Chuck me some questions in there, but yeah, definitely. The brilliance of that era for Wenger and Ferguson was brilliant, and it made the Premier League what it is. Just looking at the Arsenal players warming up. Bellerin's playing, yes he is. Mkhitaryan playing. Aubameyang's a bit of a threat. Whether he can get enough of the ball or not is another matter. They are Premier League footballers. That Arsenal side with a few kids in there, I'm sure they'll want to be competitive and put on a show. But United, 100%, we should be going out there and annihilating them. I feel a bit off today. I think I've got man flu coming. Would you swap Martial for Alexandro? Says haha banter. I think you're having a bit of banter there, haha. I wouldn't swap Martial for Alexandro. No, I mean Martial was about 5 years younger than him. He is a winger and not a left back. I just think it would be a deal of epic proportions, stupidness, and that is what I think about that. Martial for Neymar, Robbie Jones. No. You can keep throwing them up if you want. Martial for Neymar. No. I mean, Neymar's a fantastic talent. I understand why a lot of people would want him at the club, but I don't actually rate him that much. I don't. Not as a player I do, but as a solution for Manchester United, I think he's selfish. I think he's about himself. I think it would take very little for him to become disgruntled. Every time it's his sister's birthday, which is some point in the season, he's always injured because he loves his sister. Not in that way, I don't think. I just don't think we need that sort of an ego at the club. And I think we've got too many players who it's all about them. It's all about the publicity, the social media. And I think Neymar just would be another player like that. And I don't think Manchester United need that sort of player. I think Manchester United need players that are committed, run through brick walls. That's what United need. If we bought a new good midfielder, does this mean Herrera is going to be benched, says Ahmed? Well, he'd probably be the first on the chopping block because he ain't going to drop Matic. And I don't think he's going to drop Pogba either, is he? Martial for Kroos and Varane, says Christopher White. Well, that's probably a double deal I would do, to be fair, yeah. Yes, I would do that deal. Playing to play a bit. What steps are needed to make Manchester United great again? Says 16 VPN. It's like you're reading my mind. We're going to do a video this week. 5 steps to make Manchester United great again. But a little bit of a spoiler. We need to sort out our fullbacks. We do. We need to sort them out. And get irritated by people trying to ring me when I'm live. Alexi to be sent off 50-50, says Detroit Red. I hope there really is some sort of passion and bite in this game. I think it's really, really important that we do see that. I do. I really do. And just while I've got 3,300 watching, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. One, if you can click the bell and put your notifications on, because we're starting from tomorrow morning our transfer shows, and when the summer kicks in, if you want to get notifications about transfer news, you need to have your notifications on, because we go live straight away when there's a deal being done or a deal being close to be done. So click the bell underneath and turn on all notifications by ticking it. And 2, please click the share button. We never ask this enough. Please click the share button, because if you are on Twitter and Facebook, if you click share, you can send this link out, and we'll be very grateful of that, to try and grow this great community that we're building. And do subscribe, get involved. Any United won't win titles with Matic in the midfielder. He's just too slow. He's a stopgap signing. How much time left for the match to start? It's a smoke shot. We've got 7 minutes. It's flown by, actually. So well done to all of you. We're nearly at 1,000 likes as well, but well done to all of you, because it's not been the easiest Arsenal United game to build up. We've all tried our best, but this time of the season can be a little bit weird. It can be, and I think this is the first season we've had for quite a while where it's petered out league-wise so quickly. And we know we've got an FA Cup final, and that's great to look forward to, but I think 2 years ago with Van Gaal we still had a chance of getting 4th, and we blew it. Last year we had the Europa League going on, which kept it exciting. This year we've got an FA Cup final, but we've still got 3 or 4 league games to play for. And Jose can try and build up second place like it's important, but is it really that important? It's definitely progress, and I think he wants to be able to say I've gone from 6th to 2nd, and that's important to him. But is it really that massively important for me? No, it's more important that Liverpool don't win the Champions League. I wouldn't take Memphis or Di Maria back now, Jack. Tejas makes a good point. Surely it's going to be a clean sheet for De Gea today. You would expect so. I mean, I think it's a good thing that Lindelof's playing as well. Lindelof played very well against Arsenal at the Emirates back in November. And I think the one thing that Lindelof does need, and we were only talking about this last night on the 8 o'clock show, is that he needs games. He definitely needs games, Lindelof. And the only way he's going to get games is by being selected. And today was a good opportunity to play him against Arsenal. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that. A little bit more of that. Mark my word, next season United's going to win the Premier League, says BB Banter. I think we have to. And Dive says the channel discusses transfers more than football. Yeah, because we've spent the last hour talking about transfers, haven't we? Sit down. We need to win, then play youth the last 3 games, says Man U Fanatic 99. I don't necessarily think we will. And do you think we can sign Marcelo? No, smoke shot. Very easy answer there. And Moada says Aubameyang versus Smalling means no clean sheet. They've got to get the ball to Aubameyang though, haven't they? I think Smalling and Aubameyang is an interesting dynamic, but that Arsenal team's not very good, so I don't see how they're going to get the ball to him. Lindelof has potential, says Red Jedi. I think that's probably the most apt comment. And can you ask Mark if you will miss Wenger, please, says Callum Hill. No, well, yeah, I will miss Wenger. I will miss Wenger because I know for a fact that when Wenger is at Arsenal, they will not win the title. So Mkhitaryan just coming down and saying hello to everybody. And Sanchez with the Arsenal players as well. And Welbeck with Lingard. It's hard with United because they're so happy clappy in the tunnel even when it's a game that matters. I just don't like it. But I think in fairness on a game like this, they're going to be like it. But there's a bit of pressure with United today. There is a little bit of pressure, and that little bit of pressure is all because Arsenal have not made a big deal of this game, and we have put our best team out, so we need to make a big deal of it. And I demand a performance. I demand a performance, and so should all fans. We should be demanding a big game from United today, because this is the team that Jose is pretty much picking week in, week out now. We feel that this is his best team. This is probably going to be the team that he selects for the FA Cup final. So he needs to pick up. They need to perform. And the last home game against West Brom, they didn't perform, did they? So we need to perform today. Our fans have so much class, says Brevy Boy. I don't think there was any doubt that United fans were going to applaud Mkhitaryan. There's absolutely, I mean, it would feel very wrong to boo him. I think it was totally right to sell him. I think he'd come to the end of the road at United, but it would be very wrong to do that. So yeah. Got a strong lineup, says Ali Butts. Yeah. I'm interested to see what this Maitland-Niles does for Arsenal, and Nelson as well. Arsenal have always had a good conveyor belt of young talent, but not in recent times. So giving them a bit of game time at Old Trafford, as I say, very, 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 very reminiscent of what we did last season at Arsenal with Twansibi. So Mourinho is going to bring Wenger onto the pitch for an applause from Sir Alex Ferguson. And Sir Alex Ferguson's going to give him a gift. I'll tell you what, that is fantastic. Make or break next season. We all go out, says Nashi. So Mourinho went and fetched Wenger, and then Sir Alex Ferguson gifted him something. A nice little tankard. And Jose as well with Wenger. Nice touch, and he deserved that. Absolutely superb that was. So, highlight of the season, that. Brilliant. That's why we've got the best fans in the world. And Sanchez has just gone to see Wenger as well. It's all a bit exhibition, isn't it? All a little bit exhibition from United, if I'm totally honest. But class on the grass. It was lovely. Absolutely lovely. So, we're off. Start the timer. See how we go. We should build a formidable squad next season, says Crime. Well, remember, it all starts tomorrow morning at 7 AM on the United Stand with our daily transfer show. 10 minutes every morning that you can get all the latest United news, transfer news, all the way through until... Is it August the 12th? So it all starts tomorrow. I will make United great again with a small loan of £5, says Donald Trump. Thank you, Donald. And remember, you can make a contribution through the dollar option on the bottom of the live chat. And make sure you leave us a comment so we can read it out for you. But we're 1 minute into this game. But it's good to have a bit of football, isn't it? You know, I know people are a bit a bit negative about this game, but it's good to have some football. And you know, we'll get lost in the football now, and we don't have to talk about whether this game matters or not, because we're going to get to see some football. Old Trafford looks absolutely pristine. It's like a green carpet, befitting of the World Championships of Snooker, because it's like a green blaze. But let's see how it goes. Arsenal, I think, are going to try and sit back, and United need to... What I want to see from United is press, 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 and this is why we've got the pitch here. That the defensive line should be there. That's where it should be. We shouldn't be going any further back than that. It needs to have a defensive line of there and push forward. Use the flanks. And that, to be fair, is where someone like Ashley Young can come into the game. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner, and please do share the video using the share button on Twitter and Facebook, and get involved. Finally, some consistency from Jose in his lineup, says Zachary Buddington. Yep, I'm all for it. I think, I would play Rashford or Martial on the left and put Sanchez on the right, but I can't criticise Jose for actually coming to a conclusion about what his starting lineup is and consistently picking it, especially that front six of the midfield three and the front three for United. So, if United sign Fred, Milankovic, Savic, Alexandro, Alderweireld, we will be formidable next season, says the Master Gamer X2. I don't think we'll sign all of those. Stray pass here. Go on, Herrera. He's lost out. United breaking down an attack there. Sanchez just had a late tackle there from Xhaka. What a surprise. Should be a yellow card, I think. Valencia trying the long ball there. I mean, I want to keep an eye on that as well. Oh, here we go. Sanchez into the box. Bit of space. Mistake by Arsenal. He's on the wide of the box at the moment. Doesn't make the cross. And Arsenal clear, but a nice hit on the... Pogba! Chip! Oh. It's going to be a corner. Matic shot. Broke to Pogba. And is he offside? Doesn't look like we're getting the corner we should get. Watch this back. Matic on the edge of the box, volleys it. Lukaku's offside. Oh no, he doesn't even. I thought Pogba's shot had been blocked. He doesn't. He just hits it wide. Terrible shot. Goal kick. Wasted, says Moonwalker. Come on, United, says Chris Windle. Come on, we've got a game going on now, which is good to see. Herrera breaking up the play there, feeding Valencia. Rodney, can you hear me?
I can, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Good to have you. I'm sure it won't take long to people to call you by your real name, but I will desist from that. A few minutes in, 5 minutes in. Happy with the team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing the team now, so I'm happy. Surprised at the number of young players in the Arsenal squad,
yeah.
To be fair. Really surprised. But they don't consider this to be a big game, I suppose.
Good trust by Mkhitaryan there. They broke fast there, and
yeah.
I mean, I suppose that's the danger, isn't it? I was saying this with Ross and the live comments before the game, that there is a danger for United here. This is our strongest 11. This is very much not Arsenal's strongest 11. I think there's an expectation amongst United fans that we really should be beating them. At least, 3-0's been mentioned by me, at least. If we don't put in a good performance, and if we don't win it, I think there's going to be a lot of confusion amongst United fans. Is a polite word, because we really should. We've had a week off. They played on Thursday. We should be playing at a high tempo, high pace, and blow them away.
I can't disagree with you there, Mark, at all. I think I am surprised that some of the young players from the United academy aren't actually starting. So in terms of what we expect Manchester United to do against this young team, you would expect them to actually score a hatful of goals. I would have actually said more than 3.
Yeah, I'd agree. Well, I suppose Jose's made a rod for his own back, really, hasn't he? Because he values that second place massively. So he's obviously put out a good team for it. But by doing that, he's almost saying, well, he isn't saying it, because I'm sure he'd say 1-0 is a good result. But I think as fans would say, come on, if we're putting our strongest 11 out after a week's rest against Arsenal reserves, then we really need to be putting a statement out.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword, I think. One for Mourinho because he probably wants everyone to say, no one's rested, uh, to think that they're going to be, safe for the FA Cup final. He wants to get the second spot in the league, but at the same time, from a player's point of view, if you know that you're playing against an Arsenal reserve team, what does that do to your mentality going into the game? Do you switch off? Are you then complacent? And if that complacency then builds to resentment from the crowd, if you're not actually scoring goals when they believe you should, we only saw in the week Arsenal had around about 1,000 passes against 10 men, and they ended up with a 1-1 draw. That is something you don't want to see happen today.
So corner here for Manchester United, and interesting start. Just to use the sort of tactics board, I was saying that United ideally want to be playing a high line defence, but the funny thing is Herrera and Matic are having to come into these areas because the Arsenal forward line and midfield are playing two quite high lines. So I mean, they're not at the moment because they're on the defence, but a long shot from Lindelof here. I don't know what he's doing shooting from there, but Lingard's in. Hit it. Yeah. Cross. Oh, right, queuing up on the back post.
As usual, there's probably a lag with me. So I'm on coming up to 7 minutes virtually. So how far are you ahead? 2, 3 minutes?
About a minute.
Okay.
If you're happy to continue, Rodney, that's fine.
Yeah, I am. I think last time it was about 3 minutes, but there you go.
No worries. Ashley Young's just giving a foul away on Mkhitaryan there, and he's not going to help him up. I think Lingard should have scored there. B-Tech Pogba 91. He got in on the right hand side and he went for the cross on the back post, but I personally would have just blasted it at the goalkeeper because everyone on the back post is there to tap it in if the keeper doesn't handle it. So probably the wrong selection there from Lingard for me, but good bit fortuitous how it fell to him, but United have shaded the start in the first 8 or 9 minutes or so.
It's been I would say a steady approach by Manchester United. Oh, I now see the strike on goal that you talked about with Lindelof. Oh,
and then it breaks to Lingard.
Yeah, terrible. No, I think it's been steady for Manchester United. I don't think they've tried to do anything too flash, but at the same time, against this Arsenal team, you're expecting a hatful of goals anyway. You really are, and with so many young players in the Arsenal team, you would expect them not necessarily to rise to the occasion, but you'd probably be slightly nervous. But who knows? We'll have to see. It's still early days. See what happens if they concede a goal.
Yeah.
No sign of Fellaini, or is he on the?
Yeah, he's on the bench. He's on the bench. Reaper says we've got to buy a right winger. There's a few people there. Mohammed said as well. I mean, he said I like Lingard, but he's just not going to win as a title. And Biosphere says maybe I should name myself B-Tech Fellaini. At least Mourinho's showing some consistency around his team selections. But I would agree. I think if we want to win a title, we won't be playing Jesse Lingard on the right, and I don't think Mourinho will do that long term. But at the moment, it's worked okay, and.
That's not his best position anyway, out on the right-hand side, Lingard. For all the best will in the world, he doesn't function well in the Manchester United team. He likes to be in the middle where he can drift behind the front line and assist.
I think you're right there, because a right midfielder is there to provide width, and that means they need the ball. And I think with Lingard, he does most of his good work off the ball, which is why he works so well centrally.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for something. What I did like at the beginning, while I was switching on the old laptop, I could seeing the nice touch from Sir Alex Ferguson, handing over a nice little gift to Arsene Wenger on the side of the pitch while the teams were being, the names were being called out.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic.
And it was nice. It was a nice touch to as a gesture between, I'll say, three foes, because I think Jose, to be honest, would have been disliked by Sir Alex anyway when he was at Chelsea, seeing him as a threat. And I think that's just when you've got individuals that want to win, that manage big clubs, they're obviously going to have a spiky relationship.
It's funny actually, just looking at the crowd. There's quite a few empty seats there, just where Pogba was running down, and you'd never get that, in the heyday of the Manchester United versus Arsenal. And I sort of agree. It's not been the best season for either. I think both can come out of it with some positivity, but all in all, these clubs were contesting the big prizes, and we're not quite there at the moment. I think Arsenal have got a big challenge to come in relation to that, and I think they will miss Wenger as much as they are right. I think it's time for him to go. I think they're going to see what happened to us when Sir Alex Ferguson went, but he runs that club and has done for a long time. Patience is going to be the key for them. But from a United point of view, I feel there's a lack of urgency. Everybody at home in Rodney, I think there's a lack of urgency from United. It's like we are being a bit respectful, and we're happy just to grind out a 1 or 2-0 win. This is Arsenal reserves,
This is the downside that I think in terms of picking a really strong United team. You're then faced with the challenge that you've got seasoned professionals who are up against young players. You probably don't really care about your name or what you've done. They want to go out there and make a mark for themselves, so they will do what they can. They may even put in a little niggly tackle, which you may not want before an FA Cup final or before the next game, which you have to win if you don't win today. So it's interesting as a United fan to see how this game pans out. I would almost wish that the season was over, to be fair. Despite it being a United-Arsenal game, it's almost at that end, there's no real emotion attached to this fixture. Plenty of the ball going back to the goalkeeper. The ball's still being moved at a pedestrian pace. Being moved at a pedestrian pace.
So Valencia's in down the right hand side.
Yeah.
Decent cross that. I still get it. And it's interesting. It's like, I don't want to unfairly compare us to the likes of Liverpool and City, who attack very, very, very well. But I mean, just watching that last few minutes of play from United, and we are only 14 minutes in, so the tempo can go up a bit more than it, and hopefully it will do. But it's that familiar thing of United under Van Gaal and Moyes and Mourinho, where you've got that, we're in the final third, but they've got everybody back. And there's no speed to our play from back to front, and that really, I mean, effectively, if we use the pitch there, you've got Arsenal in a situation where they've got everybody in this position here, and then we've got the ball here, and we're just sort of arcing around this area. We're not breaking down those lines, and it's a problem that we always face because we don't move the ball from back to front quick enough.
No, it really is. I mean, it is laboured. It's laboured. You cannot say it in any other way. It's a laboured display. It's a laboured. It almost seems, I don't want to say testimonial, but do they really want to win? Do they really want to win at this moment in time? I know it's really early, but I'm hoping that there is a goal produced before half-time, because this is a really young Arsenal team, and the ball should be moved around at such a quick pace that they shouldn't know what's happening.
Rad Rally, I'm not a few seconds out.
I am.
Unless I've done the stupid mistake I normally do. Oh, post! Pogba! 1-0, Manchester United. It was Sanchez on the back post. He hits the post, and Pogba just passes it home. Everyone's hugging Sanchez for some reason. I think he hits the post, but it's Pogba who makes it 1-0. Comfortable, easy goal for Pogba, and he's going through the gears. And Lodney, I think that's going to resonate around a little bit now, isn't it? Let's watch that goal back, because I was too busy about whether I'm a few seconds out.
Yeah, don't worry.
Nice little break of the pain, and it is Pogba who starts it. Finding Lukaku. It's a Lukaku cross again. Lovely little cross. Sanchez probably should score. Hits the post. And a simple pass home for Lukaku, for Pogba. And hopefully that will open the floodgates again. But Lukaku with the cross again. Sanchez didn't hit the post. Sanchez's header was probably going in. It was Bellerin who put it onto the post. And Pogba just simple pass home to make it 1-0 to Manchester United. A lovely little start.
I'm quite glad. I'm quite glad that the Manchester United have scored early. Hopefully they'll increase the scoreline from the predicted 3-0 or 4-0 that some have put in the chat. I would like, I would really like there to be the send off, as much as we'll give Arsene Wenger a nice little glass jar. Arsenal need to be sent back to London with a nice beating to lift their spirits before they play Atletico Madrid in the week. So I'm expecting more goals. I've seen the Lodneys in the chat. I'm still here. Me and Lodney, we're fine. Totally fine. Good to see Pogba get a goal.
Right, I'm going to leave you to it, Rodney, for a moment. I'm just going to double check.
Yeah.
Sometimes I mistakenly go on to the wrong channel, and that may be why I'm a few seconds behind. So I'm just going to have a quick look, and I'll leave it to you for a moment.
Yeah, no worries. All right, in the chat, Pogba, yes. Now David Gea, you saved 20 shots this time. Is the game on BT or Sky? Lou MC, it's on Sky. Danny says Lodney and Rodney are here. I still don't change my view on Paul Pogba, guys. I'm sorry. It's just who I am. Yes, Chris, how are you? Who else is there? Wenger looks sad. Wenger's always looked sad. It's the plight of managing Arsenal. There's a general look. He probably has a prescription for sadness. Morning, Rodney. Morning, Jessica. Jessica, how are you doing? Jessica, I will message you later. We can chit chat and all that.
Well, if we average a goal every 20 minutes, we'll beat them 4-0. 4.5-0. So we'll be happy with
4.5. I want more than 4. I'm being greedy. I want at least 6. I want there to be a real depressed convoy of cars going back to London. No,
I'll tell you what, though, the Lukaku with the cross again there's been a few times this season, and it's a nice little bit of something in his arsenal there, pardon the pun, that he has that crossing ability, and we've scored a few goals this season from that.
Yeah. I mean, he can cross the ball quite well.
Mkhitaryan. Good chance.
Good.
Good little bit of play from Arsenal there, actually.
I mean, Arsenal can pass the ball. I mean, their academy obviously will be no different to the first team and move the ball around. And Arsenal can, well, obviously Arsenal will pose a threat to any team going forward, whether they'll be consistent and whether their threat is, in terms of 0 to 10, whether it's a 8 or 9. You can be consistently attacking a goal, as we saw in the week, and be a level 2 or 3, which means you pose no threat at all. And Manchester United have faced teams like that before.
To be honest, this is probably the best 20 minutes I've seen from Mkhitaryan at Old Trafford. He should have scored then, though. He should have scored.
He should have scored, yeah. He probably thought he was still playing in red, which is why he fluffed his lines. Someone's asked me why am I not a Pogba fan in the chat. I don't know why. I mean, I was initially. I've just gone off him. Really. There are certain players you like more than others, I suppose. He's not in my top 3 of favourite United players. David De Gea comes before him every time. And Sanchez. Yeah, I put the cat amongst the pigeons. I could say Fellaini, but that'll just be really stirring up stuff. There is still a casualness about the play. players aren't closing. Well, United players aren't closing the Arsenal players down in any real kind of intensity. They're still standing off of them as they pass the ball around. So there is a.
What I liked about that goal, though, is if we just sort of talk about it, it's Pogba coming through this central area here, having been fed by Lingard. And he passes the ball to Lukaku there. But then Pogba continues his run into the box here. But Sanchez is always staying in that area. So when the cross comes over, ends up at Sanchez and it's a pass in there. But Pogba can operate in this central area, which is where Sanchez normally is. And we saw it last week against Spurs. Sanchez is starting to do that occupation of the area where we want him to be, which is in this area here, which allows Pogba into this area here. So it's working well.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, all of that will come through time and develop. We've always talked about within each team there are compartments where there needs to be an understanding and a partnership. Whether it's your left back, left midfield, right back, right midfield, anyone in the front three, anyone in the midfield, they need to understand where your teammates are going to run and what positions to take up when they've got the ball. And I think they're very. I mean, they're intelligent players, both of them, and you would expect that to work. It didn't work as soon as everyone else wanted it to work, but in the last few games, it definitely, there's been rewards reaped through the movement from both players. So,
yeah, I mean, people will know I'm not a big fan of this. I always said Sanchez and Pogba would come good, like it just happened. There's been a clear change in Jose Mourinho's mentality since Sevilla, and definitely since the last international break. We've changed the way that we've played, how we played in the previous 6 months. 100%, definitely.
Yeah.
He's definitely in the last 2 games told Sanchez to stay more on the left so Pogba can move forward. And we've seen a more progressive style of play from United that's not conservative. So anybody who was critical of us before that, of which I was as well, it definitely is.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that what we've seen in the last 2 games has been improvement. There's still moments within what we've seen so far. It does look slightly pedantic and slow, but the movement between both Sanchez and Pogba has improved.
Yeah, they're building a good relationship, actually. They've got a free kick from about 30 yards out. And Karan wants us to describe the goal, which I'll do in a minute, because there's a free kick here that Pogba's going to hit. And, it's sort of reminiscent of a Beckham sort of area. It's deflected over the wall. It's not going to come to anything, but Sanchez has still got it, and I think he was offside. But Karan, just to get the goal back, I think it starts with Lingard about here, passes it to Pogba, who comes forward here centrally. He finds Lukaku there, back post cross to Sanchez, who heads it towards goal, deflected onto the post, runs back, and Pogba, who's continued that run, is there just to pass it home. Very, very simple.
Very simple. Football is a simple game.
Give and go from Pogba. Centrally running forward, that's where everybody wants him to be. Here's Mkhitaryan running at the back, though. He's got nowhere to go. He's in the box, and Pogba just needs to be a little bit careful there. And he megs Smalling and takes a tumble, Mr. Mkhitaryan, but referee says no penalty. Arsenal Fan TV have got their moments of injustice now, I'm sure.
Oh, right, yeah, well, they'll be banging on about that forever and a day. They'll need something to balance up the fact that they didn't track the run of Pogba, to be fair.
Another one there, Sanchez on a tackle, we'll have to watch that back.
Yeah.
Josh James says he fancies Lukaku for a goal. You'd fancy him to have at least a couple of chances in a game like this.
If he doesn't score today, I'd feel sorry for him. I would really feel sorry for him. You do want him to score against Arsenal, despite it being a team of young players. Jesse. What?
Phil says that Sky Sports are saying it was 2 penalties for Arsenal. You see, they're so biased, they try and give them 2 for 1.
2 penalties. All right.
I haven't seen them back yet.
Buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free.
Mkhitaryan did get a good reception, harsh, yes. But Arsenal are getting a lot of the ball in between our lines of the midfield as well. And Aubameyang's in here. He won't get it away. He's not going to get a shot away. He probably should have hit that first time there, but United they are a little bit susceptible, but just losing this lap here, if that's our defence and that's our midfield, Arsenal getting it in here a lot and running at our back 4, which was a problem a few weeks ago. I remember it in February. especially like Newcastle and around then, when the teams were just cutting through our midfield and.
Well, it's just it's just the speed of thought and the anticipation. That's why certain centre backs are premium. The ones that don't have to dive in last minute, they can step out and take the ball off of the centre forward or intercept balls from the midfield. And Matic, to be honest, this is a game that Matic could have sat out. Really, could have brought someone else in.
I think it's just Jose's obsession with second place, isn't it? He's gone with a very strong team because he wants the 3 points. But I think Arsenal arguably have moved the ball around quicker and better, and they're in here.
Yeah.
If they get that cross right, ooh, De Gea.
This is the one game that I wish there were 11 Fellaini's. Just for the fact that I wouldn't want anyone injured, and if there was anyone to be sent off or get a booking, it would be him. I just, I'd rather have Sanchez rest. I'd rather have Matic rest. I'd rather have Lukaku rest, to be fair, in this game. They could have been on the bench. You could have started with Rashford, Martial, gone light for light with a young team and just changed it. I doubt very much Arsenal would have posed too many problems for Manchester United today. And it would have been a chance for players to kind of just take it easy a little bit instead of actually having them go through this game at a very slow pace.
I think there is a bit of a testimonial feel to it, but I think there's also a lot more energy and speed from Arsenal. But the experience of United has sort of won through that when they've had the chance. The thing about United is that we're Mkhitaryan probably should have scored that chance.
Yeah,
we scored our chance. United are throughout. Mourinho and Van Gaal as well. The one thing it is a positive is we're very clinical on our chances to goals ratio, but we don't create anywhere near enough chances compared to anybody else. But we're very clinical with the chances that we get.
I mean that is true. I mean in terms of in terms of conversion, yes, but also they do snuff out plenty of chances. The back four, there is a certain steeliness about the defensive unit of Manchester United, even though we criticise them when they do make mistakes. So the issue for me, there's still moments when the ball moves through midfield too quickly and without anyone actually putting a challenge in or getting close enough to the player that has possession of the ball on the opposition side. It's it's almost like we'll react when he gets to the 18-yard box, and sometimes that's too late.
Playing a little bit narrow at the moment for my liking. Lingard's coming inside a lot. But then again, Valencia and Young are being invited forward so they can provide the width. I can see the United goal coming here. Lukaku, Herrera. Nice switch. Alfie Munns fancies Sanchez to score next.
I would love Sanchez to score. Sanchez to score, then he can come off.
Good cross from Valencia for once. And Ashley Young's fought back. Well, and a foul. DMU says, where's Bailly, Martial and Shaw? Well, Luke Shaw probably won't ever see a United matchday squad again. Eric Bailly, I think, is injured. And Martial's on the bench. And Melvin Man United says, I'm at work. How are we playing, Mark? I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
You can't sum that up in a sentence, can you?
Yeah.
How we played.
I don't think either of those were penalties for Arsenal, by the way. I think they could be given, but I can understand why they've not been given.
Gaz Elliott says this match is boring.
It's got a testimonial feel to it. I've actually been begrudgingly more excited by Arsenal's play because it's quicker. It is
quicker. Much quicker, and I'm having Wi-Fi issues at the moment, Mark. So I'm not sure how far I'm behind. I'm on 28 minutes. Where are you? Don't tell me you've increased in speed.
I'm on 42. No, I'm not. I'm just gone past the just coming up for 31. So it's not terrible.
All right. As I don't know if you've noticed, I've been complaining about my Wi-Fi internet provider this week online. Because the system keeps going down, so there were some days I didn't even have a TV, let alone Wi-Fi. So
that's a bloody nightmare, that is.
I know it's been. I don't know what the problem is. They say they can't They don't
you
know how
with?
to solve the problem. Virgin Media.
Oh, right. They're
Yeah.
really quite good. I think
Yeah,
it
that's
just
what
sometimes just depends where you are. In certain areas, they seem to be, wired to make them
Yeah,
never go down.
yeah.
And then other
I'm
areas, not.
actually in the UK equivalent version of Area 51.
All
So
right.
it's just like everything disappears. It's actually called Area 21, which, I don't know what's going on now.
Another
But
good
yeah,
cross from Valencia there. He's put two in a row. I don't
and
know what he's on.
no one there.
But Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang nearly linking up there. Luke Shaw has done himself no favours as he's piled the weight on against his wine.
Well, I mean, even what was the game that he came on? He came on in the
Lingard, who
game.
might be in it. Oh, the pass
Yeah.
to Lukaku is rubbish. He's got to put that into his left foot ahead of him. Not, it's poor from Lingard. We're in a good position there. But it's a good cross from Lukaku. Arsenal will clear. I'd like us just to get the second goal in this game because I think we're ahead.
Before half time. You were saying about Luke Shaw. I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the last time I was on. Any other team, he'd be a stone lighter.
He needs to play, doesn't he?
Yeah, he needs to play. He needs to play, and he's not going to play at United. So he's probably on the Anderson diet, the Walker's crisps diet, whatever it is. But it's unfortunate.
Durane's giving Lindelof a shout out. He's doing all right, yeah.
Yeah.
I've not noticed him, so that means he's doing all right.
Always, when you don't notice anyone, that they're doing the simple things.
And Jake Bullman says it as well. He needs games. Lindelof. I mean, Luke Shaw's finished, so we don't need to talk about him, which is a shame. But Lindelof is a Mourinho signing, and I don't think we've seen enough of him this season. I've seen him play well, and then he gets dropped, and I'd like to see a little bit more of Lindelof because I think he's only going to get better with games, Rodney.
I think he'll get better, but I think also, I don't know if his physique needs to change, if he needs to bulk up a little bit to help him. I think he's really good on the ball. He's got a good eye in terms of passing the ball forward. Has the ability to step forward and intercept passes into balls that are played into midfield. So I wouldn't even be surprised to see him actually play as a holding midfielder if we were short of someone, or if you wanted to give Matic a rest. But will he be there long term? That's the issue. Says we should buy Bellerin, replacement Valencia.
I do like Bellerin, but he's a bit of a funny character.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'd like to leave London. When you saw a lot of players like living in London, let alone playing in London. They just like living there. So I doubt he'd want to leave. So speaking to my friend who's a Spurs fan, some of them aren't happy with what's happened following the defeat in the semi-final, and so many rumours of players possibly leaving, not just the usual names.
The Dillinger compound says United will produce 2 goals next half. Very accurate. No,
2,
I mean
only
Spurs, yeah, it's 2. Spurs are what they are, aren't they? They just it must be infuriating to follow a club that is on the big stage, always going to consistently bottle it.
Yeah,
he should have scored there. Aubameyang, Bellerin with the cross, and I don't know why Aubameyang just didn't attack it with a bit of power. Let's have to watch this back. It's the overlap with Bellerin again, in down our left hand side as per usual. Good cross, and he can't get the power on it. Aubameyang really. No urgency, says Neil Craig. Exactly. Just tweeted something very similar. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, we're going to try and get to 218,000 subscribers today. So bottom right hand corner, get involved with the community. And thanks everybody who is watching this game. And it does have an exhibition feel, I do. But I think the knife edge thing for me, Rodney, is that Arsenal are really having a go. And obviously they don't have the technical ability of United, because United have got the better 11. But what they're giving a good account of themselves in relation to their effort levels and their energy in this game, and hopefully, I think United just need to go through the gears a little bit. Here's Lukaku.
I think
Passing it there. Lingard's passing's been poor in this game. He's getting into good positions, and then Mkhitaryan has just created a gif there. Oh God.
Yeah, Don't get me wrong, Mkhitaryan is a good player, just wasn't necessarily a good player consistently for Manchester United. Um, I think Arsene Wenger will be happy with the way that the Arsenal team have played so far. Mourinho will probably be more upset, even with Manchester United winning 1-0. He'll be concerned that the number of chances that Arsenal have created.
Yeah, well, I did speak about that before you came on there. That we have made a name for our own blood for our own black here because we picked our strongest team against Arsenal reserves, and also the last time we played at home, we picked our strong team against West Brom and we lost. So there's a lot for the United players to sort of show in a game like this. And again, I think we're in front because of the fact that we've got the better players, not because we're playing better. It's almost like the quality has risen to the top, but Arsenal's endeavours and effort levels are much bigger than ours, and we nearly got a fortuitous there chance for Lukaku. But that Mkhitaryan turn there, I've just tweeted it. That was going to be a gif. He just left Young and Pogba for dead. In fact, he left Pogba on the floor.
No one will be retweeting that. That's for sure. I mean, Mkhitaryan's a good player. I mean, don't get me wrong. That when you're playing at this level of football, you have to be good. But there's some players that the pressure of playing at Manchester United, or for Manchester United, should I say, it can be too much for some players. It can be too much. Despite what we say, sitting, at home, going out there and knowing that you have to perform week in, week out, isn't necessarily always going to. Isn't necessarily always going to be easy.
Well, I've just tweeted it off my account as well. I mean, and I saw it. I think it was Sam who just said in the live comments as well that sort of prompted my tweet is that United's big problem is we move the ball so slowly. And yeah, this might be Arsenal's reserves, but these reserves will train every day with the first team, and it will go right through from the youth to the senior team. And the way that they play football, just because they're reserves, doesn't mean that they won't play the way that Wenger wants them to play. And even a reserve team can come and make us look a very lethargic team like they have, because they move the ball very, very quickly, and our passings just take it. It's like you very rarely see a United player pass it off with the first touch. It's always control, pass, control, pass. There's no speed or urgency in the way we play.
Yeah. It's like watching county cricket, the village pitch. The bowler, goes away for about 2 minutes before he takes a run up. It's slow and laboured, and considering that there's been no real major, drama in this game, it's approaching the end of this first half in a manner that you probably wait for your train when it's delayed, slightly impatient, looking to see when something's going to arrive. If you were to say one thing that stood out for you in this first half, I think anyone watching it would be hard pressed to come up with one thing, let alone two.
I thought the goal was good from a United point of view. We worked it very, very well. And to be fair, Sanchez probably deserved the goal, but Pogba was there to pass it home. But apart from that, I mean, Sanchez always has that thing against him, doesn't he? That he's a bit laboured with the ball, and obviously Mkhitaryan has played well for Arsenal. I'd give him that.
Yeah.
Lingard's given the ball away a lot as well. And Lukaku, typically normal self, just lone channel up front. But we are on the attack with Young. Is it the side? Is it the post with a cross there? People will go, ooh, but to be honest with you, it's curling the wrong way for it to be going in.
Right. Well, I'm sure that Jose will have a few choice words for not even certain players. I think for everyone, bar the goalkeeper, in terms of the way the ball's been moved around. The niceties of handing Wards over to Arsene Wenger you should have moved on by now. I think really the one goal, you would expect there to be another goal and at least 3 goals by this first half. It's been too slow.
I can just see us coming out of this 2-0, to be honest. I can see it being that sort of game, and it's sort of Arsenal come out with some credibility. United get the 3 points, but we're not excited. I think it's looking like that sort of game at the moment.
It's too slow.
And obviously we've got the result we want, so you can't really moan about it. But I
No.
still think that you can have a little bit of a moan about it, because it's like we probably should be doing a little bit better.
I mean, when you know you're playing against youth team Arsenal in your home ground, again, you know, in front of your fans, you want to put on a bit of a display. You really do. Oh, I've just seen the highlight. I'm on 41 minutes. I've just seen the highlight of Young hitting the post.
You must be closing in a little bit, because
I'm closing in. Yeah, I'm closing in. And it makes me laugh when I look at the goalie that Arsenal got in goal. I think, seriously, whenever I see him, he reminds me of the Real Madrid goalie. Is it, brother? They're almost like similar. You look at them, you think, how are you in goal? How are you playing for this good team? Why?
Didn't he play in goal for them on Thursday night, though?
Yeah, I think he looks like he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Czech was on the bench. So
Czech was on the bench, which was surprising. It's very surprising.
Jake Bullman saying that Xhaka is the worst player in the league. Oh, I actually remember that Xhaka was considered to be a better player than Pogba last season. So no, he's not good.
He's not. Well, he's not necessarily someone that United should buy. That's for sure.
Well, there's still that fact. I mean, South African Red says, and the season's slow play award goes to drumroll Manchester United. I mean, I don't know how accurate it is now, but the article I quote was from mid-January, so not that long ago, and certainly well into the season, that United were bottom of the league for distance covered, which means out of all the teams in the Premier League, Manchester United are the laziest, which is
either the laziest or the slowest.
We just don't cover the distance, which means we don't press. You know,
none of them are marathon runners.
Nah. Cobra Sakin says, I'm the only one who notices that Sanchez never breaks the lines. He always gets the ball walking to our goal.
He's not blessed with pace, is Sanchez, though, is he? Wouldn't necessarily say that he's lightning fast. Not at all.
There is. I mean, hopefully we're going to see some big changes in the summer. But if this is our best 11, there's just something missing from it. Maybe one or two things, to be honest. It's just not.
Yeah.
This is our best 11 at Old Trafford, and the problem is it's just not very exciting, is it?
Well, moving the ball around hasn't been too exciting. I say the goal definitely was good. Good play by Pogba. You know, out. Good cross. Unfortunate that he didn't meet the cross first time.
I mean, I know Matic is a very popular player, and I do think he's had a good season for United, but I just find him such a dull player. And I know people say, well, he's playing in a dull position, but you know, Michael Carrick wasn't best with blistering pace, but Michael Carrick could break the lines with 40-yard passes forward. Michael Carrick as a CDM was a pleasure to watch. And Matic just doesn't. He bores me. He's very effective, but I find him a very boring player, and he doesn't excite me. I'm just trying to see. I'm in my mind, and please get involved in the live comments, and Rodney as well. I'm just trying to figure out what it is that's uninspiring about United and why it goes wrong. And I think two aging fullbacks. I think actually two fullbacks who are a bit younger and a bit more exciting would help, because I think this team today, the way Arsenal are set up, the area to exploit is the fullbacks, because Lingard and Sanchez are coming centrally a lot. Obviously, I'd replace Lingard, and I think we need another midfielder who's got a little bit more about him.
Well, I mean, I did say a little while ago I would have expected to see Rashford play in this game. Lukaku could have a rest. Matic could have a rest. McTominay, I'm not sure is he injured? McTominay?
No, he's on the bench today.
He's on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have started.
Yeah, I'd like to have seen that. You know, they played their kids.
You know, it wouldn't have been a problem. And even had a couple on the bench, Chong, Gomez. That would have been a really interesting. It'd have been a game actually that people would probably have been had more interest in, and there's been more drama on the pitch. At this moment in time, it's slow.
Well, we're at half time, so we'll get everybody's thoughts on it. I mean, if I was Arsene Wenger, this 3 points is not going to matter because it's all about Thursday night for them. But if I was Arsene Wenger or an Arsenal fan, I would be very, very happy with that first half. Definitely the better team. I think Mkhitaryan has come and he'll be overjoyed. He had a very good chance. He should have scored it, but he's shown the best of him in a Premier League game against the club that let him go. They've been very energetic, Arsenal. They've moved the ball around very well. They've got 2 or 3 real young kids in there as well. So I would be very, very happy with that. And, you know, if they lose this game, as long as they don't get hammered, I think they can walk out of it with a lot to take from it. From a Manchester United point of view, as we've said, that's our best 11. And where's the energy? Where's the conviction? Wasted so many passes being given away by Sanchez, by Lingard, by Herrera. Pogba has had a half decent game, but it's very lethargic from United. Rodney again.
He does look. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't actually have said anyone's had a really bad game in terms of individuals. The odd pass has gone astray, but it's just been really slow. It's been really slow, and there was a picture of Pogba coming off. I didn't even see any sweat on his brow, and I was thinking, you've been taking it easy out there. You look like you've been jogging.
Yeah, Andre says United need to find another gear. I think that they do. We're just so slow, says George. Change the formation. The game is too slow, says David. Well, I haven't seen Arsenal slow. I think I've seen us slow. They're moving it very, very quickly, and we're not. Mr. Pineapple Hero says Lingard's average. I think he's had a very poor first half. Yeah. Bring Martial on, says Ragul. They are all walking, says Miami Heart Fan 6. A few people have said that. Look, we did say, and Gazel says ours is more boring Jose next season. We did say, and Matthew McFadden's made a contribution, Lingard's been poor. Personally, I think this game is crying out for a quick attacker like Martial. United have shown Arsenal too much respect. I think he's right, Rodney. I think whether it's Rashford or Martial, I think United lack somebody, because Pogba's been quite good. I think whether Lingard and Sanchez haven't done it, maybe get Martial or Rashford on, because it lacks somebody just to run at them, get the ball and run at them, because we're so slow at moving the ball. Let's have a bit of flair. Let's have a bit of run at them. And Red Jedi says, be honest, do you think the players want to play this type of football? Because I don't. It's just too many times at home. It's just not. I mean, we should be. I mean, that's a young Arsenal reserve side that should be intimidated at Old Trafford. Why have we took the foot off? Why have we given them an opportunity to express themselves and feel the way into the game? I mean, Mkhitaryan was a failure here, and he's running around like one of the best players on the pitch. No pressure, no stress, and that has to be down to the players. We've not imposed ourselves on that opposition or intimidated them at all.
Yeah, do you know something? Mkhitaryan's probably feeling more at home now than he did in his whole time wearing a Manchester United shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
There needs to be more urgency. If I was Jose, I'd tell everyone, you better start playing two-touch football or you're coming off. Because you're touching, there's a touch, there's another touch, then I'll take another touch, then it's sideways, then that person's going to take 2 or 3 touches, and it's too slow. Too slow.
Definitely. Mark, thoughts? Young, awful. Lingard is not starter quality. Squad player at best. Our lack of any press is infuriating, says Steve Lebo. Most teams know to get at us down the right-hand side where Young is, and that's been the same all season. Lingard hasn't had a good half. I do like Lingard, but I just think he's better as a squad player. And the movement of the ball is just infuriatingly slow. And we don't press. As we were talking about that a couple of minutes ago, that Manchester United in January, and I haven't seen any updated stats, but in January we were the slowest. It's not the slowest. We'd covered the least distance in the Premier League. We were bottom of the league for distance covered, which means we don't press. We're not urgent, and that is such a shame for a team that's been built on urgency and risk taking that we just don't do it. Bunch of sheep in the chat. Get your own opinion, says Harley. I think there's quite different opinions, Harley, to be fair. And Jose won't do anything. That's his style of play, says Algernon and Sandy. Matic is shit, says Man United. I wouldn't. No, I think that's unfair.
Bold.
I did say towards the end of the half about Matic, Rodney, and I'd be interested to get your thoughts. I mean, he's had a good season, Matic. He's just not my sort of player. He just bores me. He's so slow at moving the ball, so slow at moving around the ground. He's not an inspiring player, but he has had a good season, and a lot of people do like him. He's just not exciting. It's not what I want to see from United in the midfield. It's just slow, and that's the problem with the team.
I think he's just slow. Some players move quickly in their mind, but slow on the ball, and others move really slow on the ball, but quickly in their mind. I can't work out what he is, because there are times he looks great, and there are other times you think, I need you to move the ball quickly now, and he doesn't move it quickly. And I think for Matic, I don't know if he understands that he sets the tempo in that team. If he starts to move the ball quickly, everyone else will start to move the ball quickly.
Yeah.
But he moves it really slowly, and everyone's like, okay, you're taking your time. I'll take your time. We'll all just, we'll take our time. It's not it. Someone needs to be, I'm going to start moving this quickly now, and everyone else in the team will follow. But if they're all doing it, you can't even pinpoint it just the Matic. It's like everyone's doing it. Pogba's doing it. Sancho's doing it. Lingard's taking his time. Valencia, well, he'll start on his run. It's laboured.
The thing is about the goal, though, we do stretch Arsenal, because Arsenal lose the ball around the centre circle. Lingard, one touch past to Pogba, runs into space, feeds Lukaku, cross comes in very quickly. Sanchez deflected onto the post, Pogba tap in, and it's very, very, very quick. But you're right, when the ball goes from the back to Matic, it's slow. And I've said this all season, not just about Matic, about United in general. You look at what Liverpool and City do. The opposition's defence are all over the place, because it's quick, and they don't have time to get themselves set. You look at when United play against teams, the opposition have always got time to get their men behind the ball, get themselves into position, and whilst we're pinging a sideways pass, it's really, really slow. And Michael's right. I mean, we don't need to dwell on Matic because he has had a good season, but the general point is that United as a football side are just very slow at moving the ball, and even a reserve Arsenal side has come to Old Trafford and been the better team of the half. They don't deserve to be in front. United deserve to be in front, but in a footballing sense, Arsenal are much more pleasing on the eye because it's quick, it's accurate, and there's a lot of movement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just watching the clips of the goal again. I think Lukaku takes 3 touches, right foot, left foot, and then he chips the ball. I mean, it's within seconds, that movement to get the goal. It needs to be more of that. There needs to be more of that.
Well, D_G1 says it looks like we're trying to save energy for something. It looks like we've got a big game on Thursday and not Arsenal, because we've had a week off. We've had a week off. Our last game was Saturday night, so we've had more than a week off. Our next game's not till Friday, and our next game after that's not till Thursday. So we've got no excuses for the lack of energy at home. And I think it's such a shame that it sort of defined Mourinho's career at United this season, especially, is that at Old Trafford we very, very rarely produce the big performances. I mean, thinking about our big performances this season, Arsenal away at the Emirates was good. Watford away was good. Man City away was good. Spurs last week was quite good. All our big performances are away from home. We cannot, and it's easier. History shows us it's easier to produce the good football at home, because you've got that home atmosphere, that intimidation. But United really, really do struggle with that.
I mean, I've been up there a number of times, and would have been there today if it wasn't for my back. But at home, some of the performances, you leave the stadium and you do scratch your head and think, I don't understand what I've seen, because you would expect there to be an increase in impetus when you're playing in front of your own fans, and they're singing and they're shouting and they're cheering. It hasn't always been like that for United this season, and it's odd. Hopefully next season it'll be different. Hopefully that they'll play with more ease and more flair at Old Trafford, but still have the same good fortune that they did this season away. But it's a difficult meal to eat when you're watching Manchester United right now, because even though they're winning 1-0, you're just still looking at little bits of their game and thinking that could be better, that could be improved. But generally, it's the speed and pace of the game itself that you just think this isn't good enough.
Well, we've got Flex at the ground, and he's interviewing a couple of the Arsenal Fan TV guys after this.
Oh my gosh!
If it finishes like this, I think the DT and the Robbie one's going to be very interesting, because I think if it finishes like this, they'll go, well, we never expected to win here anyway, but actually we've come away with a hell of a lot of positives against your best side, and we might win it 1 or 2-0, but we'll still end up feeling like we've taken the L on it. So we need something in the second half, and don't know what it's going to be. Brian C says this isn't FIFA. Not every home game we are going to blast teams. Very good point, Brian. But if you can name me three times this season at home we've blasted anybody, it's not based on one half of football. He's very young, but we have to think of life after Jose, says Matteo 7. And let the players play and let's see what happens, says SB. I mean, has he not let them play? Rodney? I think there's been a lot of bad passing from United as well. I think it's easy to say that, you know, we're playing slow football, and you know, Jose's been quite frustrated about that in the last few weeks. So maybe it's the players.
That front line is the front line that played against Spurs. You would never have said that was. If you'd have looked at the Spurs game and then looked at this game, the first 45 minutes, you'd be shocked. It's not down to Jose.
No, I think
players have got an attitude right now. They're thinking, "Oh, we're playing Arsenal. We're playing their U reserve team. We'll take it easy. We've taken our foot off the board." And I think what the players don't understand, that as fans, you walk away with a perception that players don't care, especially when you know that the opposition is a weak position.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind if it was Man United were playing a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich, and they had, you know, 75% of the ball, and Man United was struggling to get, you know, up the other end. But it's not been like that.
No, I agree. I mean, it's, you know, obviously you're going to get people saying Mourinho, but for me, the West Brom game 2 weeks ago, pretty much the same 11, definitely the front six, and that's where the problem is. It's the same 6 players again, taking too many touches on the ball, misplacing passes, and not showing enough urgency, and that's not Mourinho. That isn't Mourinho. I think if the and he's come out twice in the last month saying the players aren't moving the ball quick enough, too many touches, and yet again another game at home, too many touches. I thought Pogba had quite a good half, but there were still occasions where too many touches, and it needs to go.
you know, honestly, when I mean, everyone knows that I'm Lodney as well, my alter ego, and you know, I've been critical of Pogba. There are times when you just want him to just touch it and move it on. But it hasn't happened. It did last weekend. Today you think, yep, he's going to do something. And he hasn't had a bad game. But generally around him and everyone else in the team, there is this slow, it's like a slow drum beat. And they just really need to increase the tempo. Really do.
I'll tell you what this game needs. It needs Fellaini on. That's what it needs. It's crying out for Fellaini.
It needs a Fellaini hat trick.
And I'm pretty damn sure that we're gonna see it at some point. But anyway, if you are new to the channel, do subscribe. We're 200 short of 218,000, so get involved if you're new. It's a fantastic community. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got the fan cams coming up afterwards. We've got a match reaction show coming up afterwards as well. God knows what that's going to entail. We need something in this second half. But Moses says the first 30 minutes Sanchez stuck on the wing and now is not. That makes Young to push up more and exposes the left side. Arsenal knows that now. Very, very good point from Moses as well, because we were talking about that, how Sanchez was hogging the wing, and then in the second half, I mean, we can use it here. So Sanchez is hogging this area, and the last sort of 15 minutes, he starts coming into this area, which is Pogba's area. So it is a problem. Red Jedi, the manager should fix the attacking problems, not whine about it, set them up for success. Well, yeah, that's always going to be a fair sort of shout back, isn't it? But
there is. It is going to be a fair shout back, but the manager, honestly, I believe I would, if I was Jose, I'd go in there and say, if you touch the ball more than 2 times, you're coming off, because you should be moving the ball a lot quicker than you are right now. It's too slow, and even though it's 1-0, Manchester United need to increase the tempo all over the pitch.
Matthew McFadden says that Graham Souness could get his dream car, see Liverpool win the league whilst getting his dream shag, but he still points out Pogba's lack of defensive discipline. He can't stand him. He can't stand him, can he? Anyway, here goes with the second half. What? Let's be brave, Rodney. What's your 90-minute full score going to be?
Oh God. Oh right. Okay. Do you know what? Knowing what I know now, I think those that said 3-0, if you get that, you have to be happy with it, because the first 45. Despite that goal, it wasn't necessarily pleasing to the eye. So 3-0 at a push, 2-1 worst scenario.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 2-0 United. Although I'm still hopeful that we might, just click through the gears and this young, inexperienced reserve team of Arsenal might just fall apart. But
who knows?
I mean, Sanchez giving Pogba directions there concerns me because Sanchez just wants to come inside. Pogba should be saying, "Get out on the wing."
Sat nav.
Anyway, United might come out with a bit of a kick up the backside because Jose certainly should have delivered one from that second half display.
It should have.
We're off with the second half. Let me get the timer up for people as well. Okay, that's Lindelof coming forward. He had a good half actually. Lindelof. He's kept. Oh, they're just giving the ball away. He's kept Aubameyang quite quiet. And Herrera having to commit the tackle.
Yeah. I'm on a little delay, obviously. The pleasures of Virgin Media.
Shout out to Virgin Media. Actually, I must just give a shout out as well to stats24.com. Link in the video description for that. And you can get it on Apple and Android. If you are somebody who has a bet on the football, remember you've got to be over 18 and gamble responsibly, of course. But that website and app is all about the probabilities of bets coming in. They put forward bets that they base on stats and everything like that. So their bet of the day for Manchester United Arsenal was there was a 70% chance of there being more than 2.5 goals in the game. So it'd be interesting to see if they get that right. But if you are somebody who builds accumulators or you like a little bet on the football, they've got loads of games. The Finnish League, the Icelandic League, loads and loads. There's always something you can bet on, and they basically just put forward the bets that are high probability of happening. So it's a good assistant tool if you are somebody who has bets on football.
Wow.
But they said there was a 70% chance of there being over 2.5 goals in this game. So let's see if they are right or wrong.
What's the half goal? Is that like a goal allowed and disallowed?
I think it just means 3 goals. There's got to be 3 goals. I'd love to see half a goal. It's such a good shot from the post that you will give you half a goal for that. Maybe that's a new. To be honest, mate, Rodney, knowing FIFA, wouldn't surprise me if that was coming in 5 years. The half a goal, you get half a goal for a really good shot, which is decided by VAR and a panel of 10 people and takes 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Lukaku had gone down clutching himself there, but he's just run through the back four there. Good block by Smalling. Was that Nelson? Is it? I don't know. Lukaku's obviously all right because United have played on.
Good.
Scott Fisher's getting right wound up by Ashley Young. I'm sure Scott isn't even a Cockney, but I just felt like doing the Cockney accent.
He's riding me right. Karen said started slow again. Yeah.
Nothing says we're going to win it. I think we will win it, but it's when you get to that point as a fan that winning is just not enough. It's the football, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's got to be the football.
It's funny enough. I think Flex was saying that he's got. Remember the guy who did the fan cam after the Man City one that absolutely went massive? He went mad. He went, we're not fucking Stoke. I'm sorry to swear, but that's what he said. Flex was saying that he's coming on today, and I said to him, please do ask him, because obviously he was very unhappy in December. Please do ask him what he thinks now that we're in second, we're in an FA Cup final. I want to know, has he changed his mind about United and Mourinho? So Rashford looks like he's coming on. Lukaku's injured.
Well, to be honest, Lukaku should have been rested today. Really should have been rested.
Yeah. This is exactly why he shouldn't have been playing every single game all the time.
You've been rested. You got to the end of the season. You got to a final. You just think, right, we'll keep you in, cotton wool for the next few weeks. Go away, do your fitness. Keep your fitness levels up, and we'll see you in at the end of May. Nothing else to prove, really, for him. I think he's had a very good season.
Yeah, well, it's a good chance for Rashford.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll take it. But to be honest, even if Rashford does come on for Lukaku, we've still got to move the ball quickly so that he benefits from it.
To be honest with you, I've been saying this for about 12 months though, and hopefully, we'll see what happens with this. But I actually think that Rashford in 3 or 4 years can be a better player than Lukaku.
Mm.
But he's got to play as a number 9.
Yeah,
Rashford
he's a number
for me, he's a
9.
number
He's not a
9. He's
winger.
not a winger. I think he does a good job on the wing. But SB says that this shows Martial's third string. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Martial should be going on up front ahead of Rashford. I don't know. It just shows it, doesn't it? Rashford's ahead of Martial at the moment, rightly. I mean, Rashford's season compared to Martial. I mean, let's not. We can have the debate about whether we should have signed Sanchez to replace a good Martial, but let's be absolutely honest. Rashford's season compared to Martial is a joke. You know, statistically wise, Martial's tackled more than Rashford has. So you know that. I feel for Martial anyway because of the Sanchez signing, but I really feel for him that he's now third choice behind Rashford because there's no justification behind that other than Mourinho doesn't like Martial.
Yeah, well, I think Mourinho has an idea about what he wants to do next year, and he's already making it clear to certain individuals.
Yeah.
If they're going to be part of his plans, they've got to adjust. They've got to fight for their place. There's no, divine right for you to be getting a place in the 11. You've got to show what you're capable of in training, and you've got to have the right attitude. Maybe he doesn't. It's the same for Luke Shaw. We were praying, Luke Shaw's going to have a great season.
Mkhitaryan.
Oh, don't. I'm on a delay, Mike. You can't do things like that.
No, it is.
Is he done it? One, two,
yeah.
Oh.
Well, he's not only has he put Pogba on his arse and created a gif, he's now got a clean sheet taken away from De Gea, and Mkhitaryan has scored. And to be honest with you, it's probably at this stage no more than Arsenal deserve. It's Matic slow again, getting tackled, and Mkhitaryan using through the legs of Lingard and guiding it into the bottom corner. Nothing De Gea can do about it. And you can say it's fortuitous, but a lot of good players do aim at the legs of the player in front of them, because if it goes through them, keeper's unsighted. Yeah. But I think it breaks down with Matic in the midfield. But you know what? Arsenal deserve it. I cannot deny it. Arsenal deserve to be 1-1. They've played the better football. We've been very lethargic. It breaks down with Matic again. I mean, if we show you the goal here with the yellow pen, Matic is here, it breaks down, it drops to Mkhitaryan, he runs there and arrows it into the bottom corner. I've got my yellow off a little bit, but it's no more than the deserve. I can't, you know what though? I think as a fan base, we've fallen into that trap because Arsenal United at home, I'd normally be like, oh my God, going mad about that. I've fallen into that trap myself of this lethargy that's been fed out by the players today. For the second home game in a row, they're just too many touches, too slow.
Yeah. So that the ball's nipped away from Herrera and Matic there, because between the two of them,
I just don't see the progress from the bollocking that Mourinho had to give these players against West Brom 2 weeks ago. I don't see the progress. I don't see I see too many touches again.
Yeah.
And now we hopefully we will see a little bit more, but it's too narrow. You've got Lingard and Sanchez holding hands, although he's got Valencia in here. Now, decent cross. Pull back. Oh, hit it, Rion. Corner. Did Mkhitaryan celebrate? Yeah.
He did celebrate. And I thought, good right for him to put both his hands up.
He's been sold. Yeah.
Can't
stand the manager. Mourinho out, says Reaper. Thanks for the contribution. Same all seasons as Conor Kesa. 1-1. Needs to change the score. Yeah, might have to change it again if we score from this corner. Oh, Rashford airheaded it then. I think if he'd got a good header on it, it might have been 1-1. Be interesting to see if he's going to actually get Martial on the pitch now, though, and show a bit of urgency.
What's the likelihood of us seeing Fellaini?
Oh yeah, we'll go long ball for the last few minutes.
Yeah, he's changed tact.
Xhaka's had Lingard's just given Xhaka something, so yeah, I'm quite happy about that. He's given enough people. Active Dan doesn't blame Mkhitaryan for celebrating. You can't blame Mkhitaryan for the celebrating. He got bloody. He got sacked, didn't he? He's got nothing to be. Yeah, I don't think Sanchez would celebrate because he forced a move, but Mkhitaryan didn't.
Yeah, he can celebrate. I haven't got a problem with him celebrating. It's just what it is. Just what it is.
Yeah.
Well.
Right,
Let's see what happens here.
Right, you know, in a bad way, it's created a bit of it's like you said, Rodney. I suppose it was a bit of a no-win situation for Jose, really, because if we'd come and won 5-0, everyone would say, well, you'd expect it against Arsenal reserves. But if it doesn't go right, it's like this is our strongest team against a weak Arsenal team being schooled. So
yeah, I mean, it is that in itself. You could have rested certain players.
I got a 3v3 here.
Yeah, could have rested certain players and.
I think Mkhitaryan's been the best player on the pitch, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's not to say that he was a bad player at United. He just.
Well, he didn't play like this at United, did he? As well, I can't really listen to people saying that because he was given opportunities at United, and maybe he's right about the style of play, but
yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, he's popped up in positions. He's ghosted past Pogba, not once but twice. And there was a time before he was sold that everyone said that he needed Pogba to get the best out of Mkhitaryan when Pogba was injured. So he's at a club where he feels comfortable. Manchester United just haven't, in this game, put the passes together that we would expect them to.
It's funny though because we were talking about Matic and what a good season he's had, but in the last 4 games he's been responsible for 3 goals in 3 games. And
tired.
You do think, well, if that's McTominay or someone like that, he'd be publicly saying, well, they've got to learn. But because it's his, you know, Matic and Lukaku are his absolute favourites, he won't say anything about it. But
yeah, I mean, he's got to at some point have a rest. You know, have a rest, have a break. And you see Sanchez, you know, looking around, trying to say, get the ball moving quickly, because he must know that the ball's moving slow.
Red Jedi says we're so bloody boring. Get this season over with. Don't worry, Transfer Daily's starting this week on the United Stand, so you know we can ignore the end of the season apart from the FA Cup and just dream about signings and good football till the reality starts in August.
Starts again. I've got a friend that there's the guys that we sit next to, and they've already said to me that they went to the West Brom game and they're not there today because they said they couldn't face it.
It's a long drive, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they were driving from Wales. So they just said they couldn't face going to watch the football again at Old Trafford because it was just that bad.
Well, they need to be careful about that, don't they? They do. They need to be careful about that because winning's one thing, but the brand of football is so important about United. I mean, how many years was it we didn't win a title after Busby from 60? You know, and we didn't win a title for many, many years, but fans would still go because you had a certain brand of football, and it wasn't always great. But I'd rather finish 4th and play great football than finish 2nd and play like this, because you're still not winning the title, are you? I mean, if we were winning the league playing like this, I think people would just have to swallow their pride and say, look, it's not the football we want, but we're Premier League champions. But when you're not winning the league, I'd rather be 4th and playing well than 2nd and playing like this.
I mean, if Man United were winning the league playing like this, you'd have to question the league. You'd have to question. You'd question it. You'd think there's no claims to say that the Premier League would be the best in the world. They'd win anything like that. And for anyone who's watched MUTV, when they showed us old games, like the 70s. I think I watched
5 touches for Matic there before the pass comes in.
Oh gosh!
I see every touch you take is a second lost.
Ah, well.
And if a player takes 3 touches, that's 3 seconds for the opposition to be able to get themselves sorted out. And the pass he had tried in the end was a good one.
Yeah.
But there was a pass in the first bit.
Yeah, I mean, my Saturday Sunday manager, and he'd say, you know, you'd run with the ball, and he'd say, Rodney, he said, the ball moves quicker without you than it moves with you. That means pass it on. Get it, shift it. Unless you're lightning quick, you've got to move the ball instead of just hanging on to it, taking too many touches, and you've got to learn.
Tap to Lingard. I hate this as well. United do a hell of a lot of it. These silly little flicks.
Yeah, well, they work when you're winning 3-0, not when you're drawing 1-1.
Martial's warming up.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. We'll see how this game ends. I'm on 59 minutes. So how far ahead are you?
I am on 59 minutes, so you're not that far behind.
That's good. That's good.
Right, I'm going to have to go and use the toilet in a minute.
No worries.
Let me just see if this attack comes to anything.
Right.
I mean, Lingard's been just knocked off the ball there. He should be subbed for that. I'll be back in a moment, Rodney. I'll leave you to it.
No worries. Arsenal still pose a threat to Manchester United. Unnecessary flicks, as we've mentioned. Martial warming up. What's happening in the comments? Sally's or Tony Martial, 3 hearts. I'm not surprised. Sally, he's a good player. I'm not going to say I'm a Martial fanboy, but I do like him. Peter saying Lingard is so slow. The game generally has been slow, let alone Lingard. What's going on here, man? Well, nothing's going on here, man. At the moment, I'm looking at the comments. Let's come on. Let's talk about Martial and end Rashford on. Well, having both Rashford and Rashford on. I see Mark's got a contribution from Jossie Tutu. Says, I'm just not confident with Mourinho. He's the best coach in the world, but for some reason, I doubt his passion for the United club. Ooh, I'm sure Mark will appreciate the contribution, but I kind of disagree. I think Jose is passionate about Manchester United. I believe that he'll be there next year and the year after that and the year after that. I don't believe he'll go anywhere. I think he'll be the next manager to be at Manchester United for at least 6, 7, 8 years tops, which will probably upset a lot of you. Jose out, and I say Jose in. I have to say Jose in because I'm Rodney and Lodney. I'm so irritated. I'm so irritated. Mkhitaryan scored. FIFA prospect, don't be irritated. He's paid to play football and he's no longer playing football for Manchester United. It's just one of those things. Unfortunately, he scored against the club that got rid of him.
Matic? Oh,
yeah.
Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got 4,000 people watching. So Martial and Fellaini are coming on. There's always a good and a bad, isn't there?
You had a super chat, Mark, and I read it out, so I hope it's all right.
Welbeck's coming on as well.
Oh gosh, do you know something?
So he's strengthening his team, really.
Yeah. All right. So Fellaini.
But again, why is Fellaini coming on and not McTominay? It just winds me right up.
I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I missed something, Rodney. I'm not looking at the big picture. Someone keeps saying to me that I'm not looking at the big picture. I don't know what the big picture is for the big picture. I don't know what the big picture is in terms of Jose or Man United. Long term, the big picture needs to be that Maran Fellaini leaves in an Uber.
I think you'll be lucky. I still think he's going to stay. I do.
Oh gosh.
So I presume Martial's probably come on for Lingard, and he took Herrera off for Fellaini.
Really? Well, honestly,
Lingard,
I could actually see Fellaini being kidnapped by Jose, put him in the boot of his car. And,
if I was Arsenal now, I'd think, well, they've just took off a quick, tenacious midfielder for a donkey. I mean, there's already one on the pitch with Matic. So, in relation to speed, I know donkey's not a great term, but in relation to speed, I'd be thinking Arsenal, we've already dominated this midfield for pace anyway.
Yeah.
But what we're doing there is we're
going long ball now.
Yeah, we're going long ball.
Yeah, we're going long ball. Yeah, incoming, a ground assault, air assault combination. It's funny. It's funny. I spoke to this Portuguese guy, George, yesterday, and he really thinks Fellaini's a good player. I was just shocked.
Don't be a friend of them anymore. Jose Tutu says, I'm not confident with Mourinho. He's the best coach in the world, but for some reason I doubt his passion for Manchester United Football Club. That was the super chat from Jose Tutu. Yeah. A few people do say that. I'm a big fan of Mourinho, but I do have my concerns about his. He just doesn't seem to. I'm trying to put this in a nice way, but he just doesn't seem to have a. The hotel thing, is that massively important? I don't know, but he doesn't seem to have a. He doesn't seem to get United. He doesn't seem to get that if I go into a press conference and be a bit passionate and happy, that will feed in. He wonders why the crowd aren't up for games, but I think he drives a lot of that apathy himself, and through the style of play and what he's doing. Good run by Martial yet. And then the final ball lets him down. But we've got a front three of Rashford up front, Martial on the left, and Sanchez on the right. So a lot of people like that, don't they?
Good. Sanchez can play on the right. He's scored some good goals from that position, so that shouldn't be a problem for him. And for the lovers and fans and supporters of Martial, they'll be happy that he's getting some game time. We'll see what happens. But Fellaini, yeah.
Too slow. Matic did really well, but just a little bit of a quick player next to him just bursts past him and wins it back.
Yeah.
Here's the voice of reason, Georgia Gaiman. He says, I told you not to be overconfident. I think to be honest, George, I think every United fan had a right to be confident that we could win this game comfortably against Arsenal reserves. And I don't really give a damn about whether I said that or not, because I think that expectation is a realistic expectation from United fans. And if the players and the manager don't deliver that, then they need to look at themselves, don't they? It's not...
I mean, I agree. The players have to deliver. I mean, we can keep saying things about Jose and him not understanding the club and him living in a penthouse and what that means, but still, the players on the pitch have got to deliver. They know this is a big game, even if they're playing against reserve team footballers. This is Arsenal. You're playing against the history of another club, and you want to make sure that your history at the end of this game is one that stands up. If Arsenal go on to win this game, the United players that are in this game, that are on that pitch, can't hide away from what they've let themselves in for.
It is 1-1, that's why it says 1-1 on the screen. Somebody asking.
Our strongest team, we still can't beat
the
Arsenal.
Overlap here, Arsenal, if they catch it right. Good tackle that by Lindelof. Pochettino's better than Mourinho. Well, that was only disproved a week ago, Abdul. To be fair,
is that come through the revolving door again? Has that come back?
Yeah, I mean that one needs to sit down big time.
The revolving scenario. At some point, someone's going to say no.
Lynn Hall says, first dribble by Martial and the crowd burst into song. How are we going to miss him when he's gone? Well, it's probably the best bit of play from the game as well.
Yeah, that's been, yeah. It says...
I mean, I suppose when people say Jose doesn't get United, that's probably the example of there, isn't it? That is people off their edge of the seats is Manchester United, and it might not be what Mourinho wants in a footballer, but that's what United fans have been brought up on, and maybe doesn't get that. Oh, Fellaini, you bloody donkey. Long shot, straight at Welbeck at De Gea. It's never Jose's fault, says Biosphere. No, it's never is Jose's fault. We must always remember that. It never is his fault.
Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying players have to take some responsibility as well.
Sanchez has been awful, says Isha Metal 1996. Yeah, I suppose you could make a claim for that. He hasn't done a hell of a lot.
No, he's not had his best game, but he's not had his worst game.
I'd say, what are we, 25 minutes into the second half? I think anybody at half-time you were saying hasn't had a bad game, I think you'd have to say they have now. I mean, I thought Pogba had a good game, but it's disappeared in the second half.
It's gone backwards.
And I'd put Sanchez into that category. I think Lindelof's had a good game. I know the goal went through his legs, but it was a bit unlucky.
Yeah. I mean, he was unlucky because he went to close down and... oh, come on. Players are stupid. I'm behind you by a minute.
Wolf of the Wild says, who have we subbed on and off? I think we've used all 3 subs because we have Rashford, Lukaku, Lingard off for Martial, and Fellaini on for Herrera.
Mm. There you got United attacking the Stretford end.
You wouldn't know.
No, I honestly, you wouldn't know. And usually that was a sign when attacking the Stretford end. The Stretford end would be bouncing around, trying to suck the ball into the net. Obviously, the ball's not being moved quick enough to be sucked around.
I mean, Fellaini might get a last-minute winner in this, but I think with United fans, it's become depressing in itself that he is still being used as an option, isn't it? It's like Martial's cross, and he went for Fellaini, and they dealt with the cross, but it's a corner. Yeah, even if Fellaini does score the winner or whatever, it's still... it's nice to get the 3 points, but it's...
There are some footballers that I don't understand how they've made it. I actually sit here in my chair and think I could have been a professional footballer.
Well, he was very effective at Everton, to be fair, as a number 10. But United have always, even with 3 managers, refused to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
that should be a goal. Oh, Smalling, that's why. It's a good cross by Martial, and Smalling air kicks it. Martial's man of the match already, says Champan Herbs. He probably is, yeah.
Agreed.
Fellaini over the bar. Danny Smith says, we're so excited for this game, now I'm depressed. You're probably one of the few who are actually excited for it, Danny, to be fair, but I did expect us to at least score a few goals.
And my co-conspirator, who I usually sit next to, rang me while during half time, but obviously I was on this with you, so I've no idea what he called, but I bet he's not happy.
Is he there?
There, yeah. We're going up together, but I said I couldn't make it today, so he's already told me he's not going to the Watford game.
That's the last one of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, the last one. He said he's not going out.
Yeah, so United's next few games, for people who aren't aware, we're playing Friday night football next week in Brighton. Then we're playing the following Thursday in London against West Ham, and then on the Sunday it's a 3 o'clock kickoff against the Watford, and then the following week it's the FA Cup, which I think is what everybody's sort of focused on now, aren't they? But
yeah, I mean,
professional footballers, they should. Juan Mata and unused sub as well. I'd have brought Mata on instead of Fellaini, to be honest.
Oh gosh.
That sort of typifies it for me.
I would have played 3 at the back, and I would have pushed Lindelof into midfield if they were going to take off Herrera. Really would have. Well, if this game is moving slowly towards what could be a disappointing ending if Manchester United don't get another goal pretty soon. Juan Mata. 5 goals in previous career appearances versus Arsenal. He's got a good record against Arsenal. but just not today. I mean, there's Fellaini closing down and the Arsenal goalkeeper. And I just think you're not even quick enough to get there, so I don't know, understand how he's closing down.
I just read a comment there. It's a very good one as well. You know, we've played slow football all game, and Mourinho decides to bring Fellaini on. You know, that's going to change anything, and nothing's going to change while Fellaini's at the club. And even if Fellaini goes, he might sign a replacement. So
a replacement for Fellaini. Yeah, God. Well, I mean, if he can get a replacement that's better than Fellaini, then of course we're all for that. But not just Fellaini.
I mean, I sort of feel now, and I'll sort of say it as a preempt to it happening. Even if Fellaini scores the winner in the next 15 minutes, so bloody what? It's just short-term hoofball tactics that don't actually. We've had them for the last 4 years. It doesn't actually take us anywhere. I mean, it gets us 3 points today, but it's not. There's no longevity in it. It's not the United way, and it's just tiresome. You've got Juan Mata on the bench. Bring him on. Mkhitaryan goes off to a standing applause from the Old Trafford crowd. Had a very good game. Not quite standing applause, but applause.
They appreciated him, which is good.
Joe Willock, I think his brother is a United player as well.
Mm-hmm.
We are 77 subscribers short of 218,000, so please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Sanchez gives the ball away again. He gives the ball away a lot, doesn't he? Arsenal give the ball away.
Yeah,
Fellaini,
he does.
He doesn't give the ball away. See, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's limited, as they say.
Still there, Rodney?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Both drifted into silence.
I was just looking at some of the comments, actually.
Yeah.
I just think to myself,
That's
I'll
the
have a
first
look.
time I really dropped off.
Yeah.
I was thinking of something else that I needed to do, and I was like, oh, yeah. Looking at that green pitch, it's like watching snooker. It's very therapeutic. Little red balls, just static.
Well, I tweeted that. It's like watching table
Martial,
football.
though. Can he excite us with something here? His final ball's not good enough there, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I'm expecting something special now, if that's possible. Right.
Come on, that's quicker than that. Rashford hit it.
Oh. It is a disjointed, almost. It's a totally different game to what we saw in the first. It seems almost as if it's got slower.
Yeah.
If that's possible. Is that possible? Yeah. Martial is dangerous when he gets the ball. Sanchez is not. Martial must be starting every game. Lil Pell. This is a horrible United game. I'd say it's close to that. It's not necessarily one they're going to want to repeat on MUTV or anywhere else. Jose Moyes out. Jose Moyes. I like that one. Quite funny. Fellaini's world class and he's the best in the world. Well, maybe in a remote planet in another universe, possibly, but not in this one.
Yeah, 11 minutes to go. I mean, I personally still do think, I don't know what people think at home or you, Ronnie, I think we are going to win it. I sort of can predict that sort of Fellaini late winner from a hoofball, to be honest. But,
that scrambled.
yeah. Because Mourinho wants the points. I mean, let's not forget, Mourinho wants the points. He's desperate for the points. He wants that second place. And I haven't looked at the league myself, but I know Spurs are playing tomorrow.
Spurs are playing tomorrow. I think Chelsea were 5 points behind Spurs, maybe or so, 5 points. So they need to win after Chelsea won, and obviously Liverpool drew, so they're still, not necessarily closing the gap. But Manchester United obviously need to secure second.
Well,
If they don't, and there's still an area where they may fall back from second, and it could be third. And he wants things done and dusted, I think. I can possibly. I mean, now looking at the game, I'm thinking to myself, he's so desperate for confirming second place. He probably did want to rest players, and I think if this game were much more secure, I don't think he would have made different substitutions. I think he was forced to make the substitutions that he made earlier. I still feel that we may still have seen Fellaini.
Yeah. Well, he loves him, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I think even if we draw today, or even if we lost today, which let's be honest, who God knows, I think we're looking okay for even second place, because Spurs are 6 points behind us. They'd have a game in hand, so they could close it to 3 points. But Liverpool, we'd have a game in hand on them still, and we'd still be 2 points ahead of them. So, top four's sorted, and second place is, more or less sorted, I think. But the slow movement of the ball has just continued in this game, and Arsenal have just not been caused any problems. And I think that's forced us. I mean, I look at the line now, and Fellaini's playing further forward than Rashford. Martial turning, he's got too many players.
Again, that's the issue. Fellaini was closing down the ball to the goalkeeper, and that tells you everything that you need to know. That someone of his limited speed, he's not quick. Why would you want him to close down the goalkeeper? Man United are not playing a pressing game. Not playing a pressing game at all. I will say that Martial has been positive when he has had the ball. He has gone forward.
His final ball's not been good though, has it?
No, his final ball hasn't been good. I mean, there was a run where he kind of skipped past 2 players and he went to play it inside, and he didn't find his man. If he had, it would have been a great pass. But
it's the same as the Bournemouth game where Martial and Rashford played, and I thought they had a lot of effort and endeavour. But people then moan at them that their final ball's off. Well, hello, of course their final ball's off. They're not playing enough minutes.
Yeah.
You can't moan at them for being rusty when they're not playing.
The
interesting thing will be if Lukaku is out injured for any period of time. This is what I was trying to say. I've got faith in Rashford, but I do feel that this season Lukaku's not been subbed off enough. He's not been rested enough, so that if he does get an injury, if Rashford comes in, he's had quite a few minutes up front. He's hardly played up front this season, and we might get stuck in a stupid situation where Lukaku could be out for the season, and you've got to rely on Rashford, who's not had any minutes.
That's when he plays the false number 9, Fellaini up front. Is that what's going to happen? If Fellaini,
he'd probably be better there, to be honest.
Lukaku's injured, and he doesn't start with Rashford or Martial, and he says, "Right, Fellaini, you've got the number 9. You're up top." Can you imagine what kind of game that would be?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
gosh.
just a clumsy, useless lump.
The mobile lamppost, that's what he is. Mobile lamppost.
I put a tweet out saying everything wrong with United when we need to attack, and Mata is an unused sub, so we can bring that useless tree on yet again. Even if he scores the winner, it's a short-term fix for another hoofball in the box. And the top reply is from somebody saying, "Well done for stealing Jamie Redknapp's point." I mean, how? For one, I would never listen to Jamie Redknapp, and how the hell am I listening to Jamie Redknapp when we're doing a live stream and the only thing I'm listening to in my ear is Rodney? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Unless
scares me
I
that
am
Jamie
Jamie
Redknapp
Redknapp.
said the same thing as me though, because that means it must be total crap. Too many touches, Pogba. Pogba there in the box. You'll see it in a minute, Rodney. Everything that's wrong with United in a couple of seconds. Too many touches and then a useless flick.
Yeah, too many. I'm looking at my Twitter and it's got, I'm going to read it. It says, I would love to know, and it's to you as well, Mark, what the lovers, Mark Goldbridge and Rodney Cyrus, have to say, struggling against the Arsenal team. What a joke.
No, you know, you have to sit back and take your medicine, don't you? I make no apologies for the tweets I've said. It's not about beating Arsenal, it's about how many we beat them by. And that tweet will go massive with Arsenal fans. But what they don't realise is, I'm not just not a manager. I'm not in charge of transfers, I'm not in charge of tactics. When Arsenal come to United with 2.5 days rest and a reserves team, and we're putting our first team out, and am I meant to say, no, you know, we'll be lucky to get a point? Of course we should batter them. If we don't batter them, that's not my fault, that's the players' fault.
Yeah. I've watched the build-up play, and I'm probably a minute behind you, Mark. And Pogba had the ball, and it got played out wide. Yeah, it got in the box.
That's the one. Too many touches and then a silly flick.
And I just thought, what is it? The build-up play to that, he was fortunate that the ball went out wide because he touched it 2 times on top of what he needed. He could have played it out wide first time. And then the cross didn't come in. And he's frustrated. Everyone else in the box is frustrated. And then Fellaini gets the ball, then he doesn't want to cross the ball. I'm like thinking, does no one know how to cross? What do they do at training?
Oh, exactly. And as we said at half time as well, Flex is interviewing the Arsenal Fan TV guys after this, and they probably thought they were on a hide into nothing coming up here today.
Oh no!
And now they're going to be the ones with the moral high ground, because
they'll be walking around like they're in, they own London.
Yeah,
they'll be walking around in like 3-piece suit, thinking they've done everything but robbed a bank. Arsenal are going to leave Old Trafford with a point, playing a reserve team.
It's embarrassing.
A reserve team. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Of course, it's embarrassing. And the individuals, and it will be embarrassing to United fans. People will say it's down to Jose. Obviously, there's individuals on Twitter saying that and in the chat. But the players that are on the pitch, when you say that the Manchester United team had Lukaku, Pogba, Lingard, Matic, and all of those names, Smalling, and they drew with an Arsenal team that probably had the average age of 20 or 21. There. That's not going to be good.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Remember at full time, I was even considering not doing it because I thought it'd just be a run-of-the-mill win, match reaction quickly by me, and then we all have to watch Songs of Praise. But we are going to do the match reaction call-in at full time because it is a talking point. There's a lot to talk about after today. Our strongest team, and I would say, from what I've seen, Rodney, the better team has been Arsenal.
Yeah,
we've not created many chances, and they've been the better team.
They have been the better team. They've moved the ball quickly when they've needed it. They've run into empty spaces when they've needed. They've been quite intelligent. They've been quite intelligent with their play. As an Arsenal team under Arsene Wenger they do move the ball around very well. But we have to be fortunate that they don't have a lethal striker. I was going to say world class, but someone will say something about that. Because Man United could have conceded at least 2 goals in this game. And be on the wrong end of the result. At this moment in time, there's still a chance.
Although Martial in the space we want him to be in, down that left-hand side. Cross. Fellaini, post and in. Marcus Rashford, 2-1 late on, and
everyone can put their dummy back in. Oh, it's offside. Oh well.
Fellaini should have scored. It's Martial's cross. And Rashford follows it in. It's another one off the post. Pogba finds Martial. Cross comes in. It's a lovely cross. Fellaini... Rashford is offside. Fellaini heads it onto the post and Rashford is offside. Fellaini should bury that.
Did he jump?
Yeah.
He did. All right. I'll probably get that in a moment.
What a cross by Martial. Fellaini's got to put that in. That's what he's on the pitch for. And Rashford follows it in. But it was offside.
Oh, you know, no, he's got to score. He's got to.
I'd get it onto Rashford's right foot and try and put crosses into the box because it's been so effective. Good running by Rashford here. No. So United have shown some urgency in these last few minutes. Go on, Martial, that's the one. He loved to cross it from there. Oh, I should have crossed it.
Meant to. Fellaini really should have scored that.
And again.
He really should have scored that.
Throw in.
The ball, the cross that comes over, Fellaini actually doesn't know much about the ball, and there's no direction on the header. It's a glance. He doesn't meet the ball meets him.
Late corner for United. I think we'll win it. I did say that. I think we'll get a late winner off Fellaini, but nearly did it. There's a hand around there. It's all United here. We've got 4 minutes. That's the one. Ashley Young. Fellaini. Goal! He's got it. He's got it that time. Fellaini with the winner. I told you. I told you it was going to happen. I'll get a load of hate for that, for Fellaini doing that. But I did tell you.
Yeah. And I'll have to suck it up when I see George, who thinks that Fellaini's a fantastic player.
Oh, get lost. I'm not. You know what? I'm not. I don't even care what people say. Arsenal don't deserve to lose that. We don't deserve to win that, and that's our answer, is it? A long ball into the box to Fellaini. That's all we are now, Manchester United, against Arsenal reserves. So I've never ever said this about a United victory before, but I'm not even that interested in it because it's just long ball into the box, having been embarrassed in the second half. So I'm not taking any L, and I'm not taking any celebration for it. It's a lucky goal as well. It nearly goes off an Arsenal defender.
Yeah.
But, so what? We're celebrating getting a... He doesn't... It actually goes in off the back of Xhaka's head.
Yeah, that's what I say. Fellaini can't jump. 6'4" and he can't jump.
Yeah. Just...
He can't jump.
I've got to change that now. 2-1 United. Well, you know, Jose will be absolutely ecstatic and maybe he can run onto the pitch with his contract for Manchester United's Marouane Fellaini now because he's been justified in that. But I knew we were going to win it. I said we were going to win it, and I said Fellaini would get the goal as well. But anyway, we will be taking your calls at full time. I don't make any apologies for not jumping in the air and being ecstatic with that. I think it's been a shambolic performance, a boring performance, and we win it with long ball. And I'm past that now. I'm not impressed by it. I'm past it. It's boring. That's Arsenal reserves. And anybody who's sat there celebrating about a goal that goes in off the back of Xhaka's head, it's just. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe I'm not speaking. Well, I'm speaking what I believe in. Maybe some people think it's great what we've just done, but at least we'll get a bit of an Arsenal Fan TV meltdown on the channel. But for me,
I don't think they will melt down. Actually, I actually think they'll be quite reserved if they can be. They'll be realistic, and any Man United fan has to be realistic with this. 1, the result, and 2, the performance. The result was great, but the performance has been below par, especially from players that are our first-team players. That's what's the irksome thing about it. It's first-team players that have been below par. And the one player that no one wanted to see on the pitch, I didn't even want to see him near the ground. It has to get the winner.
Be careful what you wish for now. I mean, a lucky win against Arsenal reserves could well subject us to another 3 years of that clown And I know I'm calling the goal scorer a clown, but I said it 20 minutes before it happened that Fellaini scoring the winner, it's not even worth it. It doesn't teach us anything. Is that what we are? Just a long ball bloody team? There's nothing. This just doesn't do it for me. Doesn't do it for me.
It's not a moment I'm going to think back on. That's for sure. Not 1 minute.
But we will be obviously taking your calls as per usual afterwards, and you can come on and you can disagree with me. If you disagree with me, that's fine. It's all about opinion. Get on, give us your thoughts. But I don't take any massive satisfaction from that result. Danny Smith says, I can't stand this. Long ball United, Fellaini new contract within the 48 hours. You know what? I'm sure a lot of people are coming on here. We've won, by the way. I'm sure a lot of people are coming on here expecting me to be like, oh, gutted because I've had to take the L. And I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed by what Fellaini's just done. I'm not impressed by that 3 points. I mean, how many more times are we going to continue to mug off what this club is about with that sort of crap football? I mean, Rodney, your thoughts? Because I've got to do the calling.
I know you've got to call. I mean, it's lucky win. Lucky win. It was never destined 3 points for Manchester United. Lucky win. Arsenal fans, Arsenal will have to feel slightly aggrieved that they're walking away with a bloody nose. But Man United have got a lot to do in the next few weeks. If they think they can get the FA Cup with a performance like that, they can't.
Well, I'll tell you what we are going to see a lot more of. We're going to see a lot more of Fellaini. He will probably go absolutely crazy about him after the game, saying, oh, if it wasn't for him, he nearly scored a goal, he scored another goal. But what Mourinho doesn't get is I don't care about winning games like that. We're second in the league. It doesn't matter. I don't want to win games like that. I don't want to win games like that. I'd rather lose games like that the way Arsenal played than win it like that. It's just not what we're all about. And, you know, I know people are saying, oh, sit down and all this crap. But the reality is, it's just not good. No. It's not good. No. Who would be your man of the match, Rodney, before we go to take this call?
Lindelof. Actually.
Yes, good call. Good call.
Lindelof.
He played very well, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did play well. Well, thanks for coming on, Rodney. Brilliant. As
no worries. Thank you.
And I'll speak to you soon.
No worries. Take care.
Thanks, Rodney.
All right. Bye.
Everybody else in the live comments, I've put it in the link in the video description now for you. It should be there anyway. Let me have a look. We're going to take we're going to be taking your calls. And I'm going to say what I really think on the match reaction show. So the link is in the video description. It's in the top line. I'm going to be live there in 30 seconds. I will join you there to have your say. I thought Martial was brilliant, Lukaku the GOAT. So we're taking your calls via Skype Goldbridge, all one word. And I'll be giving you my thought. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with that. And I know what Mourinho is going to come out with. But I'll tell you what, I'm past it now. Even as a Mourinho fan, I am bored. I'm bored of that style of football. More of it on the match reaction. I'll see you in a minute. 30 seconds. Link in the video description or go through the homepage.